Hello and welcome back to another episode of Here's the News, the live news show here on Here's the Thing. We're here to talk about all kinds of breaking news out of New York Comic Con, plus the Backlash and the Peacemaker finale just doesn't seem to be stopping. So we're going to talk about that and how it kind of ties into the Warner Brothers sale going on, Tron bombing at the box office, M. Night Shyamalan, maybe he's back, who knows? And like I said, we're going to be going deep into Marvel Television at Comic Con this weekend. They went through all kinds of upcoming shows and new releases and new announcements. So we'll talk about if maybe 2026 can just be that year where Marvel finally comes back on the TV side, especially after a year or two of really struggling on that front. But I'm not here by myself. I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Ari. How are you feeling tonight, Ari? And are you ready to talk about a stacked couple weeks in movie news?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready, and we do have a lot to talk about.
Quite a lot. We'll start with what's on everybody's mind right now. The Warner Brothers purchase. Just recently, Warner Brothers decided to turn down the $20 per share buyout from Paramount. People are debating: is this the end of Paramount? Are they out the door now, or is this just Warner Brothers playing hardball? Trying to get them to go up on that deal, see if they can buy us out for just a little bit more per share. Some journalists are on the side of saying this is totally the end of this. Paramount's out of the running now. It's going to go to somebody else. Maybe this doesn't even happen at all, but I highly doubt that. Right? He's been getting Warner Brothers ready for sales since he purchased it, Zaslav. So sure, maybe he turned it down this week, but I'm sure it's just to bring them back to the debate table. But what do you think, Ari? Is this the end of Paramount buying out Warner Brothers, or do you think it's just hardball?
Yeah, I'm not convinced at all that this is the end, and for sure, there's no chance Paramount. Like maybe someone else gets it, maybe Netflix does a higher bid, but I don't think this is the end. I think they're just like, oh, could we get more? Maybe we can get more and drag this out. I know there are some people who feel that this is just the end, and I don't see that. I think David Ellison really wants it.
Yeah, and I think this whole last year has been Warner Brothers pitching themselves. They've had a very great 2025. Outside of a couple of movies, they've had huge hits. They had one of like a historic run of hits this year, really. So they've been selling themselves as the studio to beat, right? They're probably the biggest studio of the year this year.
Yeah,
So why not decline the first offer? Why not fight for a big offer? If you're if
yeah.
you're David Zaslav and you're, Hollywood supervillain, you want to make the most money possible, why not fight a little bit when you've had a year of pretty much universal wins, right? And even one battle after another financially hurt itself, but critically was a huge hit. It's sure going to do well at the Oscars. So how is that not a year
Yeah.
that's a total victory for Warner Brothers? Really?
If that movie was a critical failure and it was something like Eddington where like nobody even liked it, no award chances at all, I would say completely it's a failure, but it's a failure financially, but it also could have been much worse financially. And look, it's now potentially the front runner for Best Picture. And I also just think that Zaslav, I mean, this is why he took the position, right? Like a lot of people believe he took the position so they could get ready for a sale. Let's fix our debt. Let's make all these hard choices that a lot of people are not gonna like, so we can sell it.
Yeah, and there was something that was holding him up as well, where the new Paramount package, in terms of the executive positions, didn't really seem to have a spot for Zaslav. So if he sold the Paramount in this deal, he might have had to step away from Warner Brothers. He might have had to, retire to his beachfront home or whatever, get another yacht and just hang out. But I think he doesn't really want to do that. He feels like he's invigorated by this year. Maybe he doesn't want to really get out of the reins just yet, right? He still kind of wants to fight. He still kind of wants to be part of Warner Brothers. And I wonder if him not having a spot in this new Paramount Warner Brothers merge, maybe that was what held him up more than even the money. Maybe he wants to be involved. So maybe he wants to have some kind of like executive role, some kind of leadership role, even if it's just for the sake of it. I wonder what he wants to do after this. Like, he doesn't seem to like movies that much. He doesn't seem like a movie fan. Why does he want to stick around at Warner Brothers? But maybe it's just the ego. He wants to like have this victory lap and show the world that he won.
Do you see any possibility at all to John Roca on the show The Hot Mic? He brought up potentially the idea of Elon Musk? Could Elon Musk be interested in buying Warner Brothers? That seems to be the new toy that billionaires want to play with.
It's very possible because you can tell that the conservative uh, worldview they want to break into Hollywood, right? And we're seeing movies from major studios that are trying to cater towards the right wing mindset, and I think a lot of people are trying to take this right wing momentum and ride it into Hollywood. So whether it's Elon Musk or it's anybody in that circle of right wingers, I'm worried about that because I don't really want to get even more politically charged. And
Yeah.
I really want to have like an entire studio owned by someone who's just kind of like a madman who runs on whims. That's not really what I need.
I think that would potentially be worse politically than David Ellison.
It's very possible.
But
you want to?
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this bid, or do you want to move on to how James Gunn might factor into this whole
situation?
I
was going to guess that's would be the transition. Yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about James Gunn. There's a rumor, not quite based on much, going around that James Gunn might be out at DC. It is a fact that James Gunn's contract only runs through the end of next year, and it has not been renewed yet, which is pretty strange. And it times up pretty interesting with this Warner Brothers purchase, and people are starting to wonder if they're holding out to renew him until after the purchase and leave it for the next guys to decide. And then with that comes the fear of, are they going to let James Gunn go? The Peacemaker finale didn't go over that well. Nobody really watched Creature Commandos. Superman, it made money. It wasn't like a gigantic hit. Are they going to dump Gunn and totally reset DC? That was the rumor, that they're going to dump Gunn and totally reset the DC universe. Once again, do a reset on the DC universe. I don't know if I buy this, but what do you think, Ari?
It would just be absolutely insane. They reboot it again, and I do believe that this source, Cosmic Book News, that they are not typically known to be the most reliable source in the business. So this could be something they've thrown out. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they might have been a big Snyder fanboy too. So I'm not going to accuse anyone of just throwing something out there, but you never know. You never know in this business. But I just don't buy that this is a reality. Like, if you were to throw out Gunn right now, sure, these aren't smash hits, but like, look at Superman and look, it could have done much worse. And generally, people like the movie. So you're just going to throw him out now? I think you would be setting yourself up to be in an even worse position if you did that.
Yeah, I don't really see why they would do this. James Gunn doesn't seem like he wants to walk away. Just at the end of Peacemaker, he essentially gave us his pitch. He said, this is my DC universe. It's going to be about metahumans versus the government and an increasing oppression of metahumans. And I'm curious to see how that plays out. I don't want to see James Gunn give us that pitch and then die off immediately, right? And I don't see why James Gunn would walk away, and I don't see why, whether it's Warner Brothers or whether it's Paramount, whether it's Netflix, why any of them would want to get rid of Gunn, right? Maybe he's kind of hard to work with, maybe he's kind of controlling, but if you can balance that, why would you get rid of a guy who's so popular? And sure, Peacemaker, the finale was disappointing, maybe this season was kind of disappointing, but people who are ready to say, Peacemaker was terrible, so that means James Gunn's DC has to be killed off. Like, stop. We got to stop being so reactionary to these things. Like, just because one season of TV is bad, it doesn't mean this whole entire cinematic universe, this whole entire franchise is done, right?
And that was the problem with the previous people at DC. Is they were reactionary. Let's do this. Aquaman makes $1 billion. Let's do a spinoff of that. That'll never happen. And so I think that would be a huge mistake to do that. But
that's my biggest fear, honestly, though, is that Warner Brothers DC is very reactionary. They do jump at things. As soon as there's any backlash, as soon as there's any bad reviews, they'll immediately pivot. So I do get scared. James Gunn his contract still is not renewed. So if Clayface is not very great, if Supergirl's not very great, if Lantern's kind of flops, maybe he does step away. But I don't really see all of those things going bad for him, right? But there is a path where if all those things underperform, maybe they just do kind of nip this thing in the bud. And if James Gunn's plan is not being seen to fruition, maybe he's like, why am I even here? And then it goes this way. But that would require a lot of things to go bad that I just don't
And he
see going
goes
bad.
back to Marvel and takes over for Kevin Feige.
I don't know if I was James Gunn and they were trying to fire me again this time from DC, I would just be like, I'm not doing any of these anymore. I'm going back to Troma. I'm just gonna go make some schlock because clearly it's not working on the studio side. But I really, really don't see this happening.
Yeah, as of right now, I do not see this happening. But also, even if as of right now the plan was to get rid of him once they're purchased, Man of Tomorrow is supposedly written. It will go into production in spring. So by the time that would happen, Man of Tomorrow would already be completed. And then what if that movie comes out and does extremely well? Like, you're still going to get rid of him? So I don't really see this as a reality right now.
No, I do not at all see this as a reality. Want to come back to our reality and talk about the box office?
Oh boy, yeah. Tron Ares. Tron is back after 14 years. Jared Leto and Greta Lee leads the film, and it's from a director that's a go-to Disney guy. He most recently, I believe, did that Daisy Ridley movie last year.
I did see that, and that was pretty serviceable and not terrible at all.
And it's interesting that he did that because talk about something that's from another era of Disney. Those type of movies.
Absolutely.
Tron Legacy is from a different era of not just Disney, but blockbuster filmmaking in general. I mean, look at that as a legacy sequel and how it sort of predated. That movie is similar to The Force Awakens in a lot of ways, and I think inspiring in a lot of ways. But yeah, Tron is back, and it had an even lower opening weekend than Tron Legacy, unadjusted for inflation. Tron Legacy opened to about, I think, 40 something. This opened to like 33.5 million. They kept saying over the weekend, oh, it might reach 40, it might reach 35, 37. Nope. $33.5 million on a $200 million, probably before marketing budget. So Tron is not happening. It's not happening.
This franchise is done.
It never was going to happen. Their best hope is maybe in 10 years do some sort of animated show or something, but I don't even see this thing coming back in 15 years, man. I don't, because the only reason this movie happened was because Jared Leto was pushing it. He was a producer on it. I heard somewhere, I don't know if this is true, that he put some of his own money into it. So if you have a 14-year gap that only happened because Jared Leto pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and finally got it to happen, how do you get one 20 years from now without anyone doing that? I think I honestly could see this being dead for more than 20 years.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the only future for this is an animated show aiming largely towards children. Give them like a Young Jedi Adventures type of Tron show. The aesthetics of Tron are cool. The ideas of Tron are cool, but none of these movies have manifested into critical acclaim or box office acclaim. This is one of those franchises they're trying to manifest into being something that it just isn't, right? And I don't think it's ever going to happen anymore.
And it's upsetting because Tron Legacy's fun. It's not great. It doesn't have a lot on its mind, but it's a fun movie to look at. It's got a great score from Daft Punk. Same with this one. It's a fine, 3 stars, fun thing you'll never think about. It's fun to look at. It's fun to listen to the score. But this is Tron just is not happening. It would be cool if it happened, but there's just no draw. And the weirdest thing to me, this movie does not exist without some sort of cult following of the last one. What does this one not do? It's not really a sequel to that movie. So it's that's so weird. You make a sequel supposedly to a movie, and this one exists without that fan base, and then it's just to that fan base, oh yeah, no, we're not doing any of that. It is.
Yeah, I think the problem is that there is no fan base. No one saw the last one, and less people saw this one. So cater to what fan base? No one cares about Tron.
Like people say there's a cult following of the last one. There is, but it's not a big cult following. It exists. It exists enough to, if you're going to an IMAX 3-day re-release fit the week of Tron Ares coming out, that an individual showing will sell out, but it's not a big following. So yeah, Tron is dead, and it's going to be dead for a very long time.
Let's move on to something else here. M. Night Shyamalan, one of my favorite, talk about cult following, one of my favorite working filmmakers. He's going to bring Magic 8 Ball to horrific life as a TV series, a horror TV series based on the Magic 8 Ball. made by M. Night Shyamalan. That sounds like something out of like Mad Libs or like a totally fake generated headline, but it is in fact true. Are you going to be shaking that Magic 8 Ball, Ari, with M. Night Shyamalan standing there behind you?
I just heard this news tonight on the way over here, and I was crying laughing in the car. Like I almost crashed. I was just in disbelief. This is a real thing. It's happening. Sign me up, man. M. Night Shyamalan is in his fucking I don't know, whatever the hell phase, and I'm all for it. This Nicholas Sparks. I mean, how could it get any more insane?
Yeah, I'm so in for this. M. Night Shyamalan has had a pretty good run on television, especially Servant. I thought Servant was great work from him. Some of his best work, honestly, was in Servant. So I really like this. And the hook of a haunted Magic 8 Ball, like that's a perfect hook. And it's such a great M. Night Shyamalan thing. It reminds me of some of his smaller stuff like Devil and The Visit. So
Yeah, what if
I could see it being a good comeback for him.
what if it's like an anthology thing? It's like 10 episodes. Every episode is a different person being haunted by. So it says in the article it is horror.
Yeah, it's gonna be horror.
And who is it for?
I don't know. I only heard the
Okay.
headline. I would have to look up more information. But
this is fascinating to me. And you think at first glance, who's gonna watch a show about Magic 8 Ball? If you get the M. Night Shyamalan, if you can say this is an M. Night Shyamalan thing, and if it's great, maybe it could get some sort of audience. But we'll see.
it doesn't seem like they actually have a distributor just yet. It's produced with him and Mattel, who owns Magic 8 Ball, and then Brad Falchuk, who is one of Ryan Murphy's previous proteges, worked with him on Glee and American Horror Story and Pose. So it's an interesting combination. I would really love to see who picks that thing up because I like Brad Falchuk and him working with M. Night. That sounds like a pretty fun combination. Next up, we have a quick little headline here. Rian Johnson, we're kind of questioning if Knives Out 3 is going to be a break for a while. They're calling it like the end of the trilogy, that kind of thing. But not M. Night Shyamalan, Rian Johnson has been saying he's down to do Knives Out movies for the rest of his life. He says, I've been reinvigorated by this third one, and I'm ready to come back and keep doing them. Are you ready, Ari, to have Knives Out become Rian Johnson's Avatar?
I am, as long as they can keep the quality up. And we'll see how the new one is. I really hope it's great. I just hope that if this is true, that he leaves Netflix. I don't want seeing Netflix-looking Knives Out movies for eternity. I think it could be fun, but he needs to take a break after this one.
Yeah, I know he loves this franchise, but I think whether this next one is great or just okay, I think it would be good for him to step away for a bit, shake himself off, come back when he's hungry for it. But it sounds like he's hungry for it, so maybe he's got some ideas cooking. And if he's got a great one cooking, I'm not going to say no to him, but I think it would be good for him to take a step away.
Yeah.
We will see.
I am looking forward to it. I'm seeing it very soon.
Let's talk about something I bet you're looking forward to a lot more than I am. We got two movies coming out on the same day, announced very quickly within each other. Minecraft 2 was announced for July 23rd, 2027, and The Simpsons movie 2 was also announced for July 23rd, 2027. Do you think one of these runs away? Or are we going to get another, Barbenheimer situation? I can honestly see these movies being so meta in what they are, working together and doing like a Barbenheimer promotional campaign together. Minecraft meets The Simpsons, put the cast on tour together. Homer meets Steve. Tell me that wouldn't be awesome.
Simpcraft. See, the thing is, I think they share another thing in common. These are two movies that the first one was a massive hit, but we're not sure how the second one will do. Like, I'm sure that these second movies will do well, but who knows if they'll do as well. I think Simpsons definitely is not doing as well as the first movie.
No, Simpsons is not popular right now, right? It still gets watched, it still gets renewed, but it's a shell of itself and its cultural relevance, So I don't know how this is going to do.
I don't even know if it is like. I don't even know if this would like make a profit. I don't know, man, because Simpsons is just not something that people care about anymore. I could see this thing flopping, honestly. I think having a Simpcraft situation, maybe that would help the movie, honestly. And Same for Minecraft. I think Minecraft probably has a better chance of doing well just because of how well that first film did. I think there is a possibility that Minecraft 2, the first movie did so well because of, the memes and the ironic Gen Z whatever. And so I think there's a chance that it gets Megan 2.0 and nobody really shows up for the second one. But it's also not the same because Megan 2.0 switched genres, and I don't think Minecraft 2 is about to be like an R-rated horror movie or something.
Yeah, who knows? Ross chimes in and says he loves the release of Simpsons 2. I'm glad you guys are excited for it. I really enjoyed the first Simpsons movie when I watched it, but I was in like middle school or something, so I don't really remember it that well. But Minecraft, I'm really curious what the sequel does. Does it just lean into the original marketing? Like you said, does it try way too hard to be a meme and try way too hard to be crazy and just not work? But I could also see it really smashing it, and especially with these two together. Like you said, one can help the other. But I think Simpsons needs the help. But there's a lot of nostalgia craze right now. I could honestly see people going back to The Simpsons and having that, like, nostalgic, almost kind of conservative bend, looking back to the past. Wasn't it great when The Simpsons were so funny? Wasn't it great when we all saw that first movie? If the marketing really leans into, wasn't it great all those years ago when The Simpsons was good? Maybe they could have something really fun with this.
If I was Disney right now, I would be stubborn and I would not move. I would not move at all because I think you have more of a chance maybe of doing well when you're with the other movie. And in terms of, the movie itself, the announcement, I am happy it's happening. I think it's a bit late. And I see. Yeah. Ross chimes in here, says it's literally 20 years since the first one. First one was July 23rd, 2007. And Bart, in the theme for the first Simpsons movie, he writes, "We will not wait 20 years to make another movie. We will not wait 20 years to make another movie." So that's a fun little thing. I'm just also concerned some of the actors are like a lot older now, right? And you're supposed to be voicing, like a 40-year-old or whatever. Who knows? I haven't watched The Simpsons recently, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think I did hear that Dan Castellaneta's voice starting to sound a little like this is an old man. So. And also the actor who plays Mr. Burns, I think, is maybe like older than Mr. Burns is supposed to be, which I don't really – I think that should be fine. But we'll see. I hope it's not utter shit, but I think there's a chance it is.
Yeah, The Simpsons quality control has not been good under the Disney reign, so I would not be surprised if this thing is just utter garbage. But I could also see if Disney goes a little bit hands-off and lets the writers do their thing, they could, rip into Disney. They're not afraid to make fun of Disney in the show right now. I could see them making fun of the fact that Disney's back milking The Simpsons for another sequel, and they're trying to make up fake nostalgia for The Simpsons and forcing in a bunch of cameos. I could see them having some fun with it.
This relates back to Tron, but did you know that when Disney Plus first started 2019 in the early 2020 era, did you know that for The Simpsons that they took out they took out visual gags from The Simpsons?
Oh wow, I did not know that.
I don't know. I think they fixed it. I'm not sure, but and then for Tron Legacy, they didn't have the IMAX expanded, so Tron Legacy, when you get into the Tron world, that's when the 3D really is noticeable and takes shapes. And it's an IMAX. They change aspect ratios throughout the movie, which I noticed when I watched it last week in a theater. But when you watch on Disney Plus, it's just the same aspect ratio the entire movie.
Interesting.
So, but this is we'll see. I'm glad it's happening, but I hope it's good. But I could see something where if you're doing the movie, Disney's gonna maybe be like, do what you want because we want this to make some money.
Yeah, I could see it. Speaking of making some money, let's talk about Bradley Cooper replacing Ryan Gosling in the Oceans prequel with Margot Robbie. For a long time, this is going to be Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling's reunion after Barbie. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen now that Gosling's out in the galaxy far, far away. Maybe he's too big for Oceans, hand it off to Bradley Cooper. This will be a cool couple. It's going to be fun to see them together in this movie. It'll be fun to see their dynamic and their chemistry, but I can't lie. It feels like a downgrade. I was really looking forward to the reunion of Barbie and Ken in the Oceans reality, but it's going to be Bradley Cooper instead. Maybe he's in talks for it. We'll see.
And I don't think Ryan Gosling clearly doesn't bring in the money, but I think he probably does a little more than Bradley Cooper.
That's true.
I mean, Bradley Cooper's not putting butts in seats, but Ryan Gosling, I definitely is better, and I suspect this did happen because of Star Wars. Honestly, like he's going to be in Star Wars now. Does he really want to do an Ocean's prequel that's potentially competing with the new Ocean's movie with George Clooney? It's kind of weird. We're getting both. Is this a Dexter situation? Is this movie maybe not happen? I don't. It sounds like it is happening though.
Yeah, I really am hopeful that it happens because I would love to see it. No matter who they get in the cast, it'll be fun to see that kind of. I just like those little spy thrillers. It feels like a great setup for great performances, and you get any really good actor in that role, and it's going to be a good time. So just get it off the ground and get it going. I'm sure Cooper will be great in it.
Yeah, and I am honestly excited to see him in a leading role and something that's not one of his own movies again.
Yeah, I'm curious how he plays. Is this like an awards movie, or is this just going to be like a pretty solid box office play? Right when he's not at the helm, he seems to just be doing like pretty serviceable studio films.
Yeah.
He's just the serviceable hot guy. He's not really like going for an award, right?
When's the last time he led a film? Pre like Star is Born, like when is the last time?
I'd have to look at his IMDb.
Yeah.
Speaking, you mentioned the Dexter situation. Let's bring that up actually in this next story. Is Paramount killing off Showtime? That's a theory I have going right now. They recently this week announced that they're shutting off Yellow Jackets at the end of its 4th season. Yellow Jackets is a very acclaimed show, has huge fan following, and since literally like the first season of the show, the creators and the writers and the actors have all been saying it's a 5-year plan. We got 5 seasons, beginning, middle, all the way to the end. It's a 5-season arc. And then all of a sudden this week, we find out it's ending after the 4th season. And that's coming on the heels of, like you said, the Dexter moment where they renewed this prequel series, had all these ideas for spin-offs and the whole Dexter cinematic universe on Paramount Plus and Showtime. All of that gets canceled. And also, The Chi, which is a Chicago-based series going on for many, many seasons, also gets canceled right after this purchase happens. And the creator of that Dexter prequel literally said, now that there's new ownership at Paramount, things are changing, and that was the reason that our show got canceled, was this new ownership. And I'm looking at all these signs on the wall, and I'm just wondering if Showtime's days are numbered and all of these Showtime hits, these Showtime staples, are going away.
That is really weird. I was not aware of that 5-season plan thing. That is very bizarre and does make me worry. I think Dexter for now is safe because people really like that first season. But that cinematic universe thing obviously is not happening anymore. I honestly have felt this way for the last few months that Showtime is probably going to go away.
It just never really was able to stand up against HBO Max. It had its shows here and there that were hits, but throughout the decade, Showtime has always been like that second fiddle. And especially in the streaming world, it feels like when you have Paramount Plus and you have Showtime, at some point they're going to start ending up becoming one, right? Same way with Disney Plus and Hulu. It eventually became one, and I think that we're going to see that here. Whether they keep the Showtime name or the Paramount Plus name, or they come up with something totally new, I think these days are numbered of Showtime, unfortunately.
Does Cinemax still exist?
It exists in some form. Yeah, I've actually signed up for a free trial of it so I could watch House of a Thousand Corpses a few days ago, so it does exist.
Is that the network that had Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, because those networks, they're not HBO. People are not watching. If Ash vs. Evil Dead had been on Netflix or even HBO, that would have been at least a sizable hit.
Yeah, I hope that it's not dead because I just like seeing all these premium competitions. But, in the days of streaming, it doesn't really matter that much, right? Like a cable channel versus a streaming channel versus a cable channel. It's all kind of starting to feel the same, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about some streaming news here. Stranger Things. The hype is rolling out for this new final run of Stranger Things episodes. Just today, one of the Duffers posted the runtimes and then the titles of the first 4 episodes of this final season of Stranger Things. I'll read them out to you, Ari, then you can just give me your thoughts on the runtimes and the titles, anything that jumps out to you. Chapter 1 is called The Crawl. The runtime is 1 hour and 8 minutes. Chapter 2 is The Vanishing of Something, and it runs for 54 minutes. Chapter 3 is The Turnbow Trap. It runs for an hour and 6 minutes. And Chapter 4 is titled Sorcerer, running for an hour and 23 minutes. Easily the longest one is hour and 23 minutes. The shortest is 54 minutes. They average out to be just over an hour long each. How are you feeling?
I think this is not too bad. You know, last season it was just bizarre because this isn't like the final season. I don't know we're having a 2.5 hour long. I think it's less bad when it's the final season. Honestly, I mean,
they were talking about these things like they were going to be 2 hours long each, and I was starting to think, man, I'm gonna have to like set aside a week just to watch these things. But doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, right?
It's so bizarre that they're releasing the last episodes on New Year's Eve, the day where everybody's busy having a party.
Yeah, they're making it hard on us, aren't they?
Like, are people gonna watch this at their New Year's Eve parties? Are people gonna have Stranger Things themed New Year's Eve parties where let's watch the end of Stranger Things?
Some people will, right? Like is a huge fandom for that thing. The most recent season is in Netflix's top 10 most watched shows. It's a giant hit, right? And I know my family is into it. I don't know if we're gonna watch it like on Christmas or something like that, but we're gonna be talking about it. And I don't really like that release structure, but we'll talk about that when we get there. In terms of these first chunk here, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad the runtimes are not super long. The only one that jumps out to me is Sorcerer. Makes you think about the William Friedkin film from the 70s, which feels like something that those kids would be super into, and maybe something that they base one of the episodes off of. But that's the only one to me that feels like it means anything.
It'd be really cool if they did something crazy where, like, when Dustin goes into the Upside Down, he actually gets magical powers to fight the Upside Down monsters. Imagine Dustin with, like, an actual magic wand.
Yeah, who knows where they're going to go with it. It's their final season. They could go anywhere.
Who knows? I just hope they actually kill a major character by the end.
And it's interesting as well, the Vanishing of title, a throwback to the Vanishing of Will Byers, the series premiere of Stranger Things. This is just called The Vanishing of Ellipses. They still up from our title, of course, the three periods, but we'll see who vanishes.
Any information on which one Frank Darabont is doing?
That I don't know. I'm gonna think it might be Sorcerer, but that's nothing off the top of my head.
That's gonna be really interesting to see. Does he still have the juice? Because if he does, maybe this isn't just a one and done thing of him doing one episode of TV.
I really can't wait to see it. It's going to be fun. If you like Stranger Things, we're covering it on this channel. Andrew and Michael just covered the first season in deep detail a few days ago. They went episode by episode, talked about their highs and lows of that first season. They're going to be covering season 2 next week as we lead into this little batch here. And then we'll be covering it all. So if you are watching Stranger Things as these first episodes drop, head over to Here's the Thing, because we're going to be covering it as these things drop in deep detail. Who knows what'll happen? Twists and turns. We'll cover it all here on this channel.
It's sort of a Daniel Day-Lewis situation if you think about it, because he didn't plan on coming out of retirement. He did it because of his son. And now Frank Darabont did this because his kids love Stranger Things. But in a way, it's kind of a similar situation.
I can't wait to see how he does. And
yeah,
like we said, this show really captures the zeitgeist, so I'm sure everyone will be talking about it. And whether it lands, the landing, will be huge. We haven't had a show like this where it comes to a final season and it feels like everybody is watching it, right? The last time really was probably Game of Thrones, where we had a show that was such a centerpiece of the pop culture coming to an end, and everyone watched that first season especially, right? So even people who kind of fell off might come back for this. So I wouldn't be surprised if this final run for Stranger Things is just like incredibly huge for Netflix. It's going to be their best watched TV show. It's going to be a record breaker because it's going to feel like a pop culture touchstone. Like I said, we haven't had this since Game of Thrones, and whether they fuck it up or nail it or somewhere in between, it's going to be one of those big moments of pop culture history. It'll be fun to watch it together with everyone.
I would love to see it be genuinely great because I feel that they've never really reached the heights of that first season. Again, like they've had good, maybe great seasons, but it feels like they've just never reached what that first season did.
Yeah, especially when you look at just general reactions, right? Everyone was in love with that first season. And the last ones, it has their defenders. I really love the second season of the show. I think it might be better than the first in my mind, but certainly that was not the the public opinion. That was not the general opinion. So I would love it if they could go out on top, and
And
a show that's had highs and lows ends up making it all worth it.
and then think about it, Sean Levy, 2 years in a row is at the center of pop culture, Deadpool and Wolverine, and then he'll be directing, I believe, 2 of the final season, and then 2027, obviously, Starfighter. So Sean Levy is finally like having a moment.
That's good for him. He deserves it. Speaking of Netflix, they've mysteriously removed the branding Netflix originals from a lot of all their websites, and this might be pulling from their apps pretty soon. I'm curious about this. I wonder if the Netflix original branding, that cursed, Scarlet N, was hurting viewership for Netflix. Many people, I feel, have been reluctant to bite on a Netflix show, especially when it's the first season, because they'll think, this thing's not going to make it. It's going to get canceled. So why bother sticking it out, right? I wonder if they are pulling the Netflix branding to avoid that. I have myself, when I hear about a Netflix original show, I say I'm sticking this one. I'm gonna wait till it gets like a second or a third season before I even try, because it's probably gonna go to a cliffhanger, and I'm just gonna be frustrated because it's not. It's just gonna be another canceled Netflix show, right? So, what do you think their logic was in removing this Netflix original branding? Do you think it's gonna be something permanent? Like, are we gonna see Stranger Things not have that? Are we gonna see Knives Out 3 not have that, or is it just kind of like an adjustment or something like that?
I don't know. This is very bizarre. This is very. I don't know what the hell this means. When you see this, you're just like, what is going on? Are they? Is nothing? I don't even know what to think of this.
Yeah, EDM is in the chat saying no more Netflix originals, no more Plus on Apple TV. Apple TV Plus is now just Apple TV. So we're starting to see a slow pulling back, I think, from the streaming era. All these studios gassed up, went all in on the streaming stuff. Netflix is like, we're going to spend $1 billion. We're going to release new shows, new movies every single week. And then a lot of them were terrible. And I feel like maybe that's hurt Netflix's brand a little bit. When HBO Max is able to drop bangers, Apple TV is able to drop Severance. I wonder if Netflix is seeing that Netflix original branding hurting them. All the way on the Oscar front, they can't seem to win Best Picture. They get so close, and they can't nail it. And I wonder if it's just that those holdouts, right? This is streaming. I'm not going to vote for that. And even though they gave it to Coda, they gave it to streaming movies before, but just the Netflix branding might just be a little bit bad in somebody's mouth. But I'm really curious what that does for them, especially when it comes to the Oscars, because they have so many contenders and they get so close, but they can never quite get there. So I hope they can get there someday.
Do you think they're going to expand as of right now in terms of theatrical release? Knives Out 3 seems to be pretty small. Do you think that's just that we're a little far away? Do you think they'll expand that when we get closer?
I don't know if they'll expand that. I think their best move, as shown by K-Pop Demon Hunters, is to release it on Netflix, get hype build up on Netflix, and then maybe a few weeks after, a couple months after it's on Netflix, then you do a bigger run. Like if Knives Out comes on Netflix and everyone loves it and everyone's saying it's amazing, put it back out in theaters. People will go back out and watch it again. It's a rewatchable movie, you're right? Go back and catch the clues, figure out the murder before they tell you or whatever, right? So why not get people back in the theater for it?
I did hear an interesting comment from him this week that he said this one is more like an Agatha Christie novel than either of the first 2 movies, which I thought was an interesting quote.
EDM agrees with my Best Picture motivations, thinking that pulling the Netflix branding might have been Oscar motivated. And especially now that we're seeing Netflix push back into theaters a little bit, maybe it's box office motivated too, right? Maybe they want to get back into AMC. Maybe they want to be accepted as releasing actual movies, right? And pulling that Netflix branding off of that might help them a little bit at the box office.
I forgot to mention this before, but the Smashing Machine did so badly in its second weekend. It hasn't even made $10 million.
That's not very good.
I think it made $2 million this weekend. That movie is doomed. I don't even know what its future is.
Do you want to talk about the supposed Tangled live action movie? I say supposed, but it sounds like it's really happening.
Yeah,
Scarlett Johansson is attached as a producer. She's supposedly going to be playing the evil mother. Nobody else in the cast has been revealed yet. I don't expect Zachary Levi to return, but you never know where they're gonna go with the casting of these live action remakes. I love Tangled. It has a great soundtrack, a beautiful movie. There's a couple sequences, that paper lanterns scene and that kind of stuff. It'll be cool to see them in live action, but it feels a little too soon. This is similar to Moana, where I'm like, these movies feel like they just came out, and I know they didn't, but like they feel too recent to be doing remakes of.
But
And I'm also not a fan of this casting, but I want to get your thoughts first on the remake.
it's bizarre casting, but it makes sense. She had that situation with Disney, but it seems like now they're on decent terms, and she is a familiar face. I don't know if she's someone that necessarily brings in a lot of people, but she is a familiar face. And I mean, yeah, it's not great casting. She's not the greatest actress, but it kind of does make sense. And, I think she's getting this movie made now and back on the ground. Was Zachary Levi, was he the prince in the first movie?
Yeah, he played the love interest, I think, in the first movie, if I remember right.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't either.
Could you see someone like Josh O'Connor?
That would be really good, and I really am curious how they go with it, because
he literally played the Prince of England in The Crown.
And you mentioned Scarlett Johansson doesn't bring butts in seats. She definitely does. She's one of the most successful box office actresses in the world. She just starred in a ginormous hit this year. So I don't know if you can write her off on her box office appeal.
Did people see that for her?
If they see her now, she's a huge draw. She's one of probably the highest paid actress in Hollywood. She's makes all kinds of money. So she will draw butts in seats. I don't think that she's a great fit for this role. I don't know if she has that level of camp, that level of fun. I mentioned she was in Jurassic World, and she was so dry. Whenever she was trying to be fun, it was just cringe-inducing.
Yeah.
And this role is very fun and very huge and very large, and I just don't feel like she can go big enough. I would love to see her try it out, but EDM throws out my pick as well.
Yeah.
Kathryn Hahn, come on, man. Bring Kathryn Hahn in there. Have her play the Wicked Mother. Why are we downgrading to someone who is sure great in her own way, serviceable in her roles that she's good in, but not someone I would cast for like a large, showy, big role like this? I've never seen her go this big before, and she might pull it off. I would love it if she did, but she's not Emma Stone, right? She doesn't have that level of fun and that level of goof to her that she sometimes tries so hard to capture, but can't capture. Ross is breaking my heart right now. I'm really feeling sad now because Ross says Tangled came out 15 years ago. That can't be true. That can't be true. There's no way that's true.
2010?
Please don't make that be true.
Did that actually come out in 2010?
I believe Ross. I know Ross. I trust him with his release date knowledge and his movie knowledge.
Jesus
so
Christ.
That makes me really question myself, I have to say.
I was 10 years old.
Painful.
That came out. It was a Thanksgiving release, November 24th, 2010. So we're coming up on the 15th anniversary.
Ross throws out a good pick. Jacob Elordi as the prince. Is that too easy? But that feels like a great pick, honestly. He would have that charm.
That's like Kathryn Hahn. It's like it's too good. But he's more likely because he's actually becoming a big star. I love Kathryn Hahn, but did
Disney learn from the Gal Gadot and Snow White? I guess not.
And it's kind of ironic because Scarlett Johansson, it's definitely possible that she's also very pro-Israel.
Let's bring up one of the all-time legends here. We're talking about some of our great actresses. We would be totally remiss to not mention Diane Keaton, who died at 79, leaving behind a legacy of art and activism. Some of the biggest roles in Hollywood history. She's been a pioneer for decades across Hollywood, from The Godfather to, all kinds of films, from big and Annie Hall kind of history making films to modern stuff like Book Club and things that I've seen with my aunts and my family. She was so active in Hollywood. She never stopped working. She was always in stuff. She was always around. A really impressive figure. It's unfortunate to see her go out so suddenly and so shockingly, but I don't really want to focus on the means of the end happening. I just want to celebrate a great woman with a great career. I've been seeing so many clips of her that have been really nice and heartwarming. One of my favorites was her with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez at a modeling event, and every single time a model came out, she'd wave to them, give them a thumbs up, say something of encouraging, and that's just something you don't really see at these events. Everyone's kind of stoic and everyone's kind of taking themselves seriously, and she was very encouraging, even to like these little kids who were coming up in their suits. She was waving at them and giving them high fives, and making everybody feel good. And every story you hear of people who interacted with her said she was just a bundle of joy, a wonderful person to be around. She lit up the room. So unfortunate to see such a wonderful force for good and force for change in the world, someone who was unafraid to stand up for the right side of history, not cower behind, the wrong side of history and hide away from violence. Someone who was a true activist. It's a real bummer, man, to see someone like that taken away. But how you feeling?
If you want to honor her and show her respect, go and protest against ICE. Say fuck you to that actual fascist. She was very, very vocal about all that stuff. She's similar to Robert Redford in that way. They left a big legacy behind, and they continued decade after decade with their career, and they're also very progressive and very outspoken politically. I don't know if they ever worked. Did they work together?
That I don't know. You'd have to look up their list.
But I'm definitely going to need to watch some of her movies because I've seen Annie Hall, I've seen The Godfather, but I'm not too familiar. I didn't see Book Club, but I know everyone else.
Out.
But yeah, very unfortunate. And this year has not been. We've unfortunately had a lot of legends die. I mean, David Lynch, Diane Keaton, Robert Redford. I mean, please don't give us another one. But yeah,
that's all we got on here. Real absolute legend. EDM has some thoughts. Says Diane Keaton wasn't only excellent, she was a generous actress, allowing Goldie Hawn to shine in First Wives Club and made Keanu awards worthy in Something's Gotta Give. Annie Hall for life. I Need the Eggs. Rest in peace. Yeah, even Annie Hall and even Godfather, she was someone who always was there to elevate other people's performances, right? And that can be kind of degrading in a sense where it's like, oh, she never gets her time to shine, but that's a great work. Character actors are very important too. Someone who can go in there and elevate a cast, make it go from good to incredible, right? And think about how many people she brought out great performances from. Yeah, you mentioned Keanu, you mentioned Goldie Hawn. I was thinking about The Godfather, how she was there to really elevate these other performances and give them someone great to play off of, someone who was really welcoming. That's not easy to do all the time, to be an actress that can be so welcoming to all kinds of different performances. Really, really good stuff.
She's really great in Something's Gotta Give. The movie isn't the greatest thing in the world, but she's really fun in it. And that movie's kind of progressive in a way that I haven't heard mentioned because it's a movie about old people and they have sex scenes with old people, something you never see in movies. At least never where you're, in an actual serious way.
Something I was really liked about her late stage career is she was always taken seriously, right? She was never like a total mockery. When she was a romantic interest, she was still taken seriously as a romantic interest. It wasn't like a total joke, like, oh, look at this old woman trying to be romantic. Like, she was still hot, even in her old age, even all the way to her last days. She was still a great looking woman, and she was very respected in that role. She was always cast as love interest, even all the way into her late career. Really sad to see her go, but she left behind decades and decades of great films and activism and legacy to leave. That's not a sad life at all. When you go out on your end of this time, to leave all that behind. Ross mentions a favorite that no one talks about is Baby Boom and Marvin's Room. I've never even heard of either one of those, Ross, so I'm definitely going to look those up because I'm looking for something to watch in her memory. Here's the thing. Our own channel is out here commenting. I wonder who that is. Rest in peace to Diane Keaton. I agree with you. Here's the thing. What else do we got here today? We've got, what do you want to talk about first? Because we've got the Chair Company. Do you want to talk about the Chair Company? Did you watch the premiere of the Chair Company?
Yeah, but real quick, I'm trying to see. Deadline is doing the stupid ad things. There was another death. Give me 1 second. It was a famous composer. I'm pulling up Deadline on my phone.
EDM says if it wasn't for Theron Brilliance and Charlize Theron's Brilliance and Monster, Keaton versus Watts and 20 Grams, that would have been an awesome Oscar race. I think she could have gotten there second.
Yeah, Ian Freeburn Smith died. He arranged the score for A Star Is Born. He was 93 years old. Yeah, the Barbra Streisand A Star Is Born. He did the score for, and he did the score for Magnum P.I., Cagney and Lacey.
Another legend gone. Someone who, of course, is not as headline grabbing as Diane Keaton, but he listed off some great work. So another one gone.
Oh, and also the Muppet movie.
The Muppet movie, classic music in that one.
He did a lot of he did a lot of TV too. He doesn't have a ton of credits, but the last yeah, he hasn't worked in a while. He did something called Ransom in 1988 that its rating is MA13. I haven't heard that. That must be an old rating thing.
ADM mentions that he composed the music for Evergreen. He says it was an all-timer song. So check out that if you don't know his work. I've never heard of Evergreen, but I'll definitely look it up. All right, let's go on here to The Chair Company. The premiere for the first episode is out for The Chair Company. We were kind of talking about, we covered the trailer, I believe, on this show, one of our first episodes for The Chair Company. Tim Robinson stars, and he's also a producer. He's a creator on the show. He stars a guy at a giant mall, like design company, I guess, like a company that would opening up a brand new mall, and he tries to pitch this mall in front of all of his colleagues, in front of all of his employees, in front of all of his peers, and he sits down on his chair, and the chair collapses. And rather than being able to laugh off the fact that he fell in front of all these people and move on, he goes down this rabbit hole investigating the chair company and trying to force them to take responsibility for the chair collapsing. And it's only been one episode, but over just one episode, he's definitely started to lose it. He's starting to uncover what might be a mass conspiracy, or it might just be him losing his mind and not being able to accept that something completely stupid happened to him. Tim Robinson's hilarious in this. He has that typical brand of Tim Robinson comedy that you get from I Think You Should Leave or from Friendship, but this show is a little bit more serious than both of those, I guess. It's very funny still, but I do get the sense they're actually building towards something for real plot-wise. Like they're going to be going for something crazy here, something surreal, something kind of Lynchian. Friendship had like these touches of Twin Peaks and like Inland Empire going on. I wonder if this is going to really lean into his surrealist mystery influences, because he has that blend in his art of cringe, but also strange, surreal seriousness. So I can't wait to see how he blends all of that. First episode was great. Doesn't give you a lot to go on plot-wise, but gives you a lot to chew on in terms of where they might be going here. So what do you think about the premiere?
Yeah,
Are you in for the rest of this?
David Lynch, I was thinking about Ari Aster. There's this one shot where they do, you know, that sort of pan-in that they do in Hereditary when the Ann Dowd character is yelling at him, and they zoom in. They sort of did something similar to that in this episode. I just love this guy. This guy is so funny. There's not another actor living that is more perfect to be in a David Lynch movie than this guy. It's so sad. He would have been perfect, and I think he would have been in it. If David Lynch was still around and was still working, he would have. But this guy's got to work with Ari Aster. That's what I was thinking watching this and watching Friendship. Ari Aster's next film has got to star Tim Robinson. And Ari Aster, he needs something to hit. If he put this guy in his next movie, it would appeal to a certain crowd. But yeah, I really like this. I thought he was really great. It's interesting because, yeah, it is a real show, but his humor is still very much there. I
Definitely.
think it's maybe a little more approachable. It's probably more approachable than like I Think You Should Leave. Maybe more approachable than Friendship. I'm not sure, but this I was laughing hysterically throughout the whole thing. But did you notice Sophia Lillis is the daughter in this, the girl from It?
Yeah, I'm really happy to see her. She hasn't had a lot of work since It, really, so I was happy to see her show up in at least something.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much we're going to get from the supporting cast. That's a question I have, because you have people like Sophia Lillis in there, but this seems to be very much a Tim Robinson focused series. I wonder how much we're going to get from that supporting cast and how much they're going to be involved. You know, how involved is his wife going to be, played by like Belle? How involved is all his coworkers going to be? There's a large cast of characters to explore if they really want to. And
it was directed by Andrew Young, the director of Friendship.
I wonder who directs the rest of the episodes, because I'm seeing on this list only him, and nobody else has been officially confirmed. So
Yeah, IMDb. It looks like IMDb has him and Aaron Schimberg, the director of A Different Man.
Do you have any theories going on right now? What they might be up to? Who might have sabotaged the chair? Anything along those lines?
That ending just made me like, what the fuck is the show? I don't even like. Is it real? Is it real? Is it in his head?
Yeah, it's definitely playing with the narrator and the reliability of him, right? He's paranoid and he's something like, oh, I emailed their support email and nothing came back, so there's got to be a conspiracy. Maybe, or maybe they just haven't updated their email in 20 years and they forgot that wasn't even lined up, So you really wonder how much of this is going to be in his head and how much of it is he accidentally wandered into something for real, right? Like, I don't think this chair company sabotaged him on purpose, but I think maybe he accidentally found something for real, right? I talk about like the Watchmen show on HBO Max, where like these crazy conspiracists like accidentally uncover a real conspiracy, and it like totally breaks their brains. So I really can't wait to see what he digs into. When he goes into this chair company, there's like this big red orb thing in there, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? I really can't wait to see them explore more of this. I hope they keep leaning into that sci-fi stuff and that surreal stuff and find a way to switch genres. It would be really fun to see him have like a completely serious, really scary scene in here, like a genuinely intense action sequence or a really scary chase scene. Like, where does he have it in him in terms of stretching tone and stretching style? I really would love to see where this scene goes, and it's got great reviews. So I'm really excited to see how this whole thing plays out. It's only 8 episodes, so it'll go by pretty quick. By the end of November, it'll be over with. But I'm loving it so far.
A few episodes at least will be airing alongside Pluribus.
Oh, interesting. I totally forgot that was coming out.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun watch.
I'm very curious. I'm excited, but I'm very curious. Like, what the hell is a sci-fi set in Albuquerque show by Vince Gilligan going to be?
EDM mentions, will 3-time Emmy winner Tim Robinson get Emmy love for writing or for lead actor? I think he definitely could. This is easily one of the best shows of the year so far if they keep up this quality one of the first episode. And from the reviews, it sounds like they do. We'll keep you guys updated on if they keep the quality up. But I'd love to see him get an awards run, be the next Seth Rogen,
To me, watching the show, it's hard to take it seriously and not just burst out laughing because it's Tim Robinson in a serious setting, and I think that's part of the joke. That's part of the idea. He knows that he's absurd. He knows that's an absurd concept, and I mean, there's that moment at the end where he's crying, which at first I'm like, oh damn, this is kind of getting me emotional, but then it feels like it's starting to make fun of him a little. But yeah, I was really into this. I can't wait to see what we get from the rest.
You want to do a quick review here of the Invincible trailer? I'm not caught up on Invincible or even remotely close to it, but we'll get to New York Comic Con in a second. The first story we'll cover from New York Comic Con as we sneak our way into the larger stories will be the Invincible trailer. It's 3 of Invincible. The trailer came out.
This is season 4.
Season 4.
They revealed that it's coming out in March. They basically did the same thing they did for the season 2 teaser, where it had been so long, so they did a thing where him and Seth Rogen are in like a diner talking about it, and they revisited that here, where him and Adam Eve are in a diner, but it's destroyed by like a big world-ending battle, and he's about to eat a burnt, destroyed burger, and she's like, "Don't even think about it." He's like, "I'm not gonna do it." But yeah, it's just them. It's meta, and they basically say we're working on concept art, and then they show concept art of Thrag, which is the main villain of the comic that will be introduced without a doubt this season. So they're teasing. They know people want it, and we're gonna sooner than later. I just wonder if they announce the casting before you see it. I don't think they will, because so far this show has not been like, they'll show who's in the season, but they don't tell you who. So I think we're not gonna find out until the episode actually happens. But I'm really excited to see. I don't know if it would happen, but I've seen Bryan Cranston thrown around, and that would be like J.K. Simmons versus Bryan Cranston. Now that would be absolutely phenomenal. I'm not sure how I feel about, so many things are meta now, fourth wall breaking. I'm not sure if that was necessary. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of getting tired of it a little.
Yeah, I'm not caught up on Invincible. I'm not really planning to, but if this thing gets like incredible reviews, I might jump on it. I'm just kind of sick of this like hyper adult superhero stuff, super gory, super violent, super like cynical. This like really over it kind of like ironic superhero stuff. It's not really hitting with me like
I
it
will
did
say
like 10 years ago
Invincible is
or when I
more.
read Invincible.
I will say Invincible is more of a serious thing than like The Boys. It's not as dumb. And I will say, after 4 seasons of The Boys, I'm starting to get sick of it. And I'm not in love with the show like it was in the first season, but I'm still into Invincible.
I could catch up. You never know how things go. TV slows down, or if I just feel like jumping on it.
If they get someone really good for Thrag,
I might have to. If they really do get Bryan Cranston, I might have to.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I don't know, because J.K. Simmons is a big name. He has a lot of history, and that's why I appreciate his casting. Is they didn't just get a star who has like no voiceover experience. They got a well-known actor that has done a lot of voiceover. He's voiced J. Jonah Jameson in a lot of animation, so he's not someone who's unfamiliar to that. But they got Stephen Yeun, and he does a great job, honestly.
EDM mentions that they're currently watching Invincible Season 2. It's a great show, but they're adjusting to animated full-hour programs. I didn't necessarily realize they were full hours. That's a...
No, I mean, it's like 40-something minutes.
Okay, but that's still abnormal for animation, typically.
Yeah.
Speaking of meta, let's move on over to our main story here for the last hour or so. We're going to talk about Marvel Television at New York Comic-Con. And is Marvel Television back? Wonder Man, which was supposed to end the year this year, as we spoke about meta, it got pushed to slightly later. It's opening in end of January, but it's going to get those weekly primetime drops. It's not going to be one of those things where they drop the entire show at once and then nobody talks about it. It's going to be something that they're genuinely focusing on and putting their time behind. We'll start with Wonder Man. The trailer came up for Wonder Man. I'm not sure if you got a chance to watch the trailer for Wonder Man, but I thought it was a pretty fun trailer. Very, very meta. I'm not sure if Disney has like the capacity to be meta to that sense, to critique the superhero genre and to critique the entertainment industry and to critique these lazy, cash-in sequels. Aren't you the guys doing that? Like, who are you pointing a finger to make fun of when you're the ones doing it, right? I don't even know what you parody. It's just you. It's just you.
That's my issue, is like they're parodying themselves, and I'm like, you guys, that they're making fun of superhero fatigue. You guys, the one who are giving us superhero fatigue. Like, we're not getting fatigue from DC. They don't even release that much, and a lot of it isn't good. So, like, you guys are just pointing the finger at yourself, which I guess is inherently kind of cool, but it sounds like it feels very safe in a way, right? Like, when you're pointing the finger at yourself, because you don't really have to go that far to seem cool.
And you're never going to go that far, right? You're never really going to punch deeply. You're just going to say, oh, look at this cheesy 60s thing, and look at these goofy costumes, and look at this Cash Grab 2 sequel, and look at this cameo. But one of my problems with the studio was that it didn't really punch that hard, and I feel like this is going to punch significantly less hard than the studio does.
Yeah, and I mean, they got Lee Isaac Chung directing a couple episodes, and you have Ben Kingsley, but I just don't know. I mean, it looks like a fun show, but I don't know that it really looks... I'm seeing people over the moon about it, and I didn't really think the trailer was anything remarkable.
One thing I liked about the trailer was that 60s kind of throwback Flash Gordon looking movie. I was like, I would watch an entire show of this. I hope that they release that movie ahead of the show as promotion. There was actually a deleted scene. They mentioned it at New York Comic-Con. There was going to be a sequence in the Fantastic Four First Steps where they go to the theater and they watch Wonder Man, and it could have been a fun crossover, but they didn't do the crossover, so that's kind of disappointing.
Marvel doesn't want to actually be fun and clever.
I like the premise here that he sees the movie in the 90s, he just kind of falls in love with acting, and he sets his sights on playing Wonder Man, despite the fact that he has no real experience. He's working all these bit shows, these bit roles. It looks like he's going to show up on American Horror Story in this show for a small role. It would be very fun if there was an Evan Peters cameo and
that'd be incredible. Talking about multiverse, that'd be really cool. What if Ryan Murphy showed up?
That's possible. Ryan Murphy is a celebrity producer. I could see him showing up for sure. I
Um,
question that, like, what layer of reality is this in? Like, is this supposed to be our reality, or is it supposed to be like the MCU reality? I'm a little confused about that. I'm sure we'll get more as we go along. You know, that's not really a critique of the trailer,
if
right?
they
But I
really
just
want to
get a
redeem
little
the
confused of where
multiverse,
we're at here.
if they really want to redeem the multiverse saga, all they have is Avengers now. But this is a project coming up for Avengers. You could have this be set on like Tobey Maguire's world or the X-Men's world. You could do something fun with that. I don't know if they will, but this is your one chance, and they should take advantage of that. But did you notice Zlatko Buric in the trailer?
I did. He plays this almost like Werner Herzog kind of director, the guy who's directing Wonder Man, and he has this crazy vision for the movie. We don't get a lot of what his vision is going to be, but he's like, "Oh, I want to merge fiction and reality," and that's obviously a meta commentary on the show itself. But I'm very curious to see how this guy plays out. I have a feeling this guy's going to be the true villain of this whole thing. I think he's going to reveal himself to be the mastermind of all evil or something like that. You know, I think it'd be very fun to see the cast have to fight the director or something like that.
The villain of Superman and the villain of Wonder Man.
That's a very interesting coincidence.
He was great in Triangle of Sadness. When I saw that movie, my biggest takeaway, people are like, this actress is great, this actor is great. I'm like, no, Zlatko Buric is great. And his scene with Woody Harrelson, where their boat is about to like blow up or sink or whatever, everyone's throwing up, and they're just like reading off a communist manifesto. That was the greatest thing of all time.
Ross says, "What if Ralph Bohner and Evan Peters meet?"
That'd be incredible.
That'd be a crossover.
That actually, that would make me love the show. But yeah, I mean, it looks fun, but I'm not sure. I'm like, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. I'm excited to see Ben Kingsley back in. That's a fun twist. You know that he was the original. He was the original Wonder Man. But yeah, I mean, I hope it's good. So we're gonna have this and The Pit in the same month.
There was a really interesting quote I wanted to pull from the conversation around Wonder Man, where they said it was a different time for Disney and mentioned that they're no longer pitching their shows as these miniseries, these standalone little things to introduce characters that can maybe someday come back. They're developing actual shows designed to last multiple seasons and designed to have as close as they can get to annualized releases, at least in terms of like getting a season out as close to within a year as they can. I think that's a huge step forward. We've had just...
Sorry. Was this Brad Winderbaum?
I believe it was the producer of Wonder Man.
God, I hope that's true. And
like, it sounds true. It looks from what it is. That's what they're going, right? Like Wonder Man seems. You mentioned there's shows like Wonder Man, like Marvel Zombies, that are sort of like in the middle of that transition. But when you look at stuff like Daredevil and X-Men and Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, those are all shows that are designed to last. Daredevil is getting a third season. We haven't even seen its second season yet. X-Men is getting a third season. We haven't even seen its second season yet. Wonder Man is still kind of a standalone thing, but it feels like they're introducing this guy to bring him back for a few more seasons if he's beloved. And even VisionQuest is going to feel like a continuation off of Agatha all along, feeling like it's actually picking up from where things left off. I think this is a really good direction for the show, for all these shows.
Yeah, it's like a trilogy. I will say I'm definitely more excited for VisionQuest than this, just because of what we're gonna see in that show. But you know, I'm looking forward to it. I really, really like Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Yeah, I really like him. I think he'll be very fun in the role. He has that like hyper confidence. And did you see that he went to the Fantastic Four First Steps premiere in character?
Yeah, he
That's
did.
very fun.
And he was in character. He was asked. When I saw an interview, they're like, "So can you talk about this controversy and the accusations?" I'm like, "Accusations? What happened?" And then I had to realize, oh wait, he was in character. That was great.
Let's talk about some news really quickly. Those supposed unreleased, unannounced movies from Marvel in May and July of 2027 that people were pitching were going to be the ones that saved the MCU and made everything make sense. Oh, it's going to be Doctor Strange. Oh, it's going to be this. Oh, it's going to be that. They're not going to be anything. Marvel pulled them from the release date. So now we're officially not getting any movies between Secret Wars and Doomsday. It's going to be a big movie gap that they hopefully are filling in with all these TV shows. But do you have any thoughts on there being a big 1 year gap in between these two movies, and seemingly we're done with multiverse saga movies, essentially.
Yeah, so I guess no Doctor Strange 3 in between the movies. I'm curious how they do that story, because what they set up at the end of Doctor Strange, that's what sets up Secret Wars. So I'm wondering, will that just be in? I guess that'll just be in Doomsday now, or they just don't do that at all. But they gotta continue that story.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll pick up, and it was literally setting up Secret Wars, so I'm sure it will be coming up in Secret Wars, if not in Doomsday.
Yeah, but I just hope. I mean, there's no way Charlize Theron doesn't come back.
I would think not.
I would hope not. This was weird, but not the most surprising thing in the world, because they've been so quiet about this supposed release date for whatever Doctor Strange 3, whatever it is. So if Doctor Strange 3 is not happening, or at least not happening right now, I wonder what Sam Raimi does for them, because I do think he is going to do another thing for them. I'm curious, does he do... There was a rumor, or maybe it was just speculation, that maybe he could do the Midnight Suns movie. It's been rumored.
I can see that being a really great fit. I honestly think he's going to do Doctor Strange 3. It's just going to be after Secret Wars, right? Like, it's a successful franchise. It makes a lot of money. Why not pick up with something that comes up as Secret Wars? Once the multiverse is bombed out like that, maybe you could do anything with Doctor Strange. He could be anywhere. He could be in any place.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange could sort of be like, what people thought Peacemaker would be for the DCU. Didn't exactly end up transferring over to the new universe. He did, but not in the way we thought it would. So you could have Doctor Strange be that. He's a multiverse character. Have him be the character who survives the reset, the reboot. And I think that would be cool. And you could have him be sort of a leader and a mentor to all the younger Avengers. I
would love to see that. I really wonder what the future is for Doctor Strange. I hope it's soon, though. We could talk about Spider-Man for a second. They've really hyped up the fact that Spider-Man and Daredevil Born Again, and presumably the Punisher special, but maybe not, are going to be deeply connected. They talked about that the Born Again writers are in contact with the Brand New Day team, and they're making sure that at least the Punisher is done well between all of these things, and that his arc is consistent. Do you think, though, this hints to any more continuity? Do you think we're going to see Daredevil show up? Do you think we're going to see any of the Defenders show up? Do you think it's going to be one of those things where one plot leads into the other, right? If Spider-Man is literally on the streets of New York in this movie, it would be weird for him not to have something like Kingpin come up, or whatever happens in this storyline come up. So I think this is a very good sign. We've had problems previously with the MCU not lining up, and I hope this means it will.
I think most likely what will happen is they'll reference whatever happens in the show, like reference Kingpin, reference, Daredevil and Kingpin's conflict. I mean, honestly, it would make the most sense based on Born Again is they're going after heroes and trying to lock them up, ironically, which is similar to what DC is leading towards. But it's that, I mean, they could incorporate that into Brand New Day. Like, they could incorporate Kingpin. Kingpin's trying to lock Spider-Man up. I mean, he did lock Punisher up. That's what I'm curious about with Brand New Day, because season 1 of that Daredevil show ended with Punisher locked up. So how does he end up with Spider-Man? I'm guessing that'll be explained in Born Again season 2, which comes out very soon before Brand New Day. But yeah, I'm really happy about this, because that's been a problem for a while. Like in Thunderbolts, they didn't mention that in, are we going to have that mentioned? It's stuff like that, is frustrating. So I'm really glad about this, and I'm very curious to see what the connection will be.
Something that worried me a little bit is that they had no mention at all, even a little bit in passing, of the Punisher Disney Plus special that has already been shot and is supposed to come out prior to Spider-Man. And it's weird they were like, oh, Born Again and Spider-Man are really going to connect. And never in that conversation did they mention, oh, also there's a special about the Punisher that's coming out also, and that's going to connect.
Really bizarre.
They didn't show any footage. They didn't show any images or anything at this panel.
That's really bizarre.
It makes me wonder if it's having some problems. Maybe if it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Or maybe there was that quote of them leaning towards actual series rather than these one-off things. Maybe they're
Yeah.
trying to readjust and make it into an actual Punisher series or a pilot, and it's going to be something different than it was.
To me,
But
I was
it's
never.
strange that this thing was supposed to line up that would connect so deeply, and they're not even talking about it.
To me, I was never fully on board with just like a special for Punisher. Like, I don't want to see a special of this guy. I want to see a new show that's, better than the previous show, which was good but not the greatest, or a movie. I don't really need to see a special. That feels like such a downgrade. Like I know you said to me that like TV is a downgrade from film, but I feel like a special presentation is a downgrade from TV. It's a fun thing to do maybe for the smaller characters, but for like Punisher, that should be a show or a movie.
Yeah, you go big with them, right? And I wonder if they were just struggling to make it all line up plot-wise between Daredevil and Spider-Man and this Punisher special, where they just like, we can't work it out. We're making too many changes, we're moving too much stuff around. It's just not making sense. So let's put this Punisher thing out later or rework it into something else.
This is definitely eyebrow raising because that thing is it's got to be finished filming.
It's got to be. It's only a special, right? And they've been shooting it since like July or something.
There were I haven't seen set photos for a few months, but I've seen a billion set photos of Punisher and Brand New Day. So it's really bizarre they won't mention it. I honestly hope it has become like a show or even a miniseries,
Let's talk about a show that just keeps on going. You can't seem to kill off the Daredevil. And there was some big news at the Daredevil panel. One of the bigger shows, probably like the second biggest in terms of news level. But they did show a trailer. They didn't release the trailer, but if you followed Jessica Jones, actress, on Instagram, you saw a couple of seconds of it. But the Defenders' return is kind of teased, but Jessica Jones' return is not just teased, it's shown. She came out on the panel with the cast and said, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be on Daredevil's team. And he said she's the first of many, essentially, to join my team fighting for crime. Who knows what he means by that, but I can probably guess we might see a couple of returning faces. I wonder if we'll see the entirety of the Defenders reunite in this series. But we didn't get to see the trailer, but we got the news of Jessica Jones coming back. We also got the news of Matthew Lillard's character.
Yeah.
He's playing a character named Mr. Charles. At least that's what they're telling us. I have a theory about who he might truly be, but and they mentioned that he's going to be playing an antagonist, someone who's fighting against Kingpin, but also against Daredevil, a new villain on the streets of New York. What are you thinking?
Because he's characterized that as a superhero in previous comments. So I'm curious if he's spoiling where his character will be by the end of the season, maybe?
Or it could be one of those things where he sees himself as the hero. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks he's clearing off the streets of New York, and it turns out he's doing something pretty bad, right?
Yeah. To me, I'm really interested to see him play an actual antagonist, or at least someone gray in the middle. But I'm just really excited to see him. He recently in a convention, I think in the last week, I saw at a convention, he was like, I'm so glad finally be playing a superhero, to be in one of these things. I've wanted to do this for a long time. And James Gunn, you have my number. I have not received a call or any text from you, James, but you have my number. Please reach out. I'll do anything. And I have wondered in the last year, like, why don't you get Matthew Lillard? James Gunn wanted to do a Plastic Man with him in the early 2000s. I'd love to see that happen now. Sure, he's a bit older, but you're doing an older Green Lantern. There's no reason you can't do an older Plastic Man. Maybe he's like training his son or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like a new Plastic Man. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm just excited to see Matthew Lillard. I'm so glad he's having like an actual comeback. Like, look at all the work he's getting. Just 5 years ago, he was getting like nothing, and now he's like kind of actually back.
I'm really excited to see him. Everyone loves Matthew Lillard, so it'll be fun to see him in the role. I'm curious if he's playing a character called Mr. Fear, who's been a rumor for a while. Someone that might be introduced. Mr. Fear is similar in a lot of ways to Scarecrow. He has a fear toxin that he releases with like a gas gun that carries, fear illusions. He even looks like almost a spitting image of the Phantasm. So clearly a ripoff of some Batman stuff that was working, but I think it would be, of course, he was designed like way before the Phantasm came out, so I think that may have been the other way around. But What was that?
Is he a Daredevil character in the comics?
Yeah, he appeared in the early days of Daredevil, and I think it was. Yeah, I'm reading it here, Daredevil #6, so very early in the
So
area
Marvel's
of
Batman.
Daredevil.
So Marvel's Batman also has a Marvel Batman villain. Yeah, this is all honestly very exciting. I'm much more hyped for this than I am for like Wonder Man or even. I am excited for VisionQuest though. Did they? There was some stuff said about VisionQuest,
Yeah, we'll
right?
talk about that for sure when we get to it. I want to mention the one last headline off Born Again, though, and I'm sure you have feelings about this one. Foggy lives. Minor spoiler alert for Born Again, but in the opening sequence of Born Again, Foggy is taken out of commission essentially, and he seems to have died in the sequence, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Marvel is open about it. They're not hiding it. It's not a surprise. They're saying he's back. They've not given us any word on like what capacity and what way is he back. Is he literally alive? Is it a flashback? Did he just survive? What's going on? How is Foggy back? Are you happy he's back? And do you have any theories about how he's coming out of the grave?
Do you think if they say he's back, do you think they would say that if it was just like flashbacks or something?
I don't know. I could see them trying to throw us off a little bit. Maybe like they announce that he's back, so people are like, "Oh, he's gonna be alive," and then he's not actually alive. It's a hallucination. It's a ghost. It's something along those lines. But to me, I'm happy he's back. I think something was absolutely missing in Born Again without having those three together. And it wasn't just Foggy that was gone. It was Karen was also gone for a long time in the show too. And there was really just a huge gap. None of the new characters filled that gap at all.
No.
And I think it's very clear that once they shifted the show to be something else than it was, that part of it was bringing Foggy and Karen back next time, right? I think part of that was this original show was designed without them in it, and then they decided to add them in kind of in the reshoot segments. So it feels like a long-term course correction of getting all three of them back together. I hope that the second season of Daredevil can be a little more consistent, and I think that Foggy and presumably Karen being back in major roles will be part of that consistency coming back to the show.
Yeah, I mean, a problem with the MCU for a long time has been that it exists in our reality. It feels like it's maybe a bit too realistic. It'd be, if he comes back to life, they literally use the hand or something, fully commit to some of that more supernatural. And we're kind of entering a supernatural phase of Marvel. So I don't think it would be the most absurd thing. I mean, what if they don't do the hand? What if they literally what if literally a witch brought him back to life or something?
They could do so many different ways. I really hope that he's not just alive and he faked his death or something like that. That's kind of boring. I want him to go kind of goofy with it. Give me something crazy, give me something fun.
I don't know if they would do it, but there's a storyline where Foggy dies in the comics and Matt literally has to go to hell. Oh, he's the devil of Hell's Kitchen. He has to go as the devil to hell. I don't know if they would do that, but that would be fucking fascinating if they.
Mephisto just got introduced. What if Mephisto shows up in Daredevil? He's got to make a deal with Mephisto to get his buddy back, and then Mephisto comes calling by the end of the season.
Can you just imagine, like, dead serious Charlie Cox with Sacha Baron Cohen? Just imagine that scene.
That's what I want out of this interconnected universe. Give me all those bizarre combinations you wouldn't otherwise see.
That's my problem with the MCU in general, is this is a cinematic universe. They were the first to make it work, but it's not. I understand it's not a comic book, and it can't be to the level of comic books, but they could have tried more than they did, I feel.
And it's clear they're learning from that. I think this whole panel today was them admitting some faults and showing us this new direction. I talked about how they're really going back towards the more traditional TV routes, going back towards making sure these things connect and run together. So to me, they're really going in the right direction here.
Yeah, like when they had Anthony Mackie show up in Ant-Man, I'm like, yes, this is what I want to see. Even if it's just like one scene. It doesn't even have to be that important. Just have someone show up, make us feel this universe is connected. That's what I liked about Superman, what they set up. Like, look, there's like a Ted Cord file in the background. That's clearly setting something up, And I will say I liked the first season, but to me it did feel like this was something before, and they tried to put it together, and it doesn't feel like it exactly worked. And I can't be mad at them. I think the second season, will be a lot better and a lot more of what they really wanted it to be. And I think Foggy's death, that opening scene, is incredible. But I wasn't a fan of how they just did a huge time skip. We're skipping over all the reaction. How does Matt deal with this directly? Not like 2 years later. How does he deal with this now? And I wanted them to actually dive into that tragedy. How do him and Karen reel from this? I honestly wish that they had at least like a couple episodes that take place like right after that and then do the time skip. So I'm not that mad he's coming back because it's just not the same without him. It's not the same without Karen. And I just him coming back, potentially, Jessica Jones coming back, what they're setting up, I don't see a reality where by the end of at least the third season we don't see the Defenders back together.
I think they're definitely coming back by the end of this season, honestly. But
I think that's how you end the season, right?
Probably.
Last season, they're like, oh, who's teaming up with us? These cops, I guess. End season 3 with, okay, we need some more help. We still can't do this alone. And they get Luke Cage. But here's the thing, and here's what I want, and I think is possible. I think Tony Dalton's character, I think he's going to join the Defenders. He's going to be the new addition to the team.
I'd love to see it. I want to talk about X-Men 97. It got renewed for a third season as well. Similar to Daredevil, we haven't even seen the second season yet, but they renewed it for a third, which is a sign of extreme confidence. The second season is going to air in the summer of 2026. They showed a trailer at New York Comic Con, which was private for the people at New York Comic Con. But, if you're a little birdie who maybe saw the trailer, you might have thought that it looked very, very good. And it shows a lot of returning characters. Apocalypse looks very cool. I love the design of Apocalypse. And it teases some characters coming back in unexpected ways. That's all I'll say. Characters you thought might have been gone after last season, they might be coming back, but in ways that you definitely were not wanting or expecting them to come back. And I'm really curious how this goes with Bo DeMayo no longer in charge of things. He's hyping stuff up. He's like, oh, I'm the mastermind behind this thing. It's always going to suck without me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. It'll be telling when these next seasons come out, and they're still really, really great. And then maybe he'll start quieting down on his little chirps on Twitter. But I'm looking forward to this. The trailer looked really good. What do you think, Ari? Did you hear from a pirate what that trailer might look like, or did you not get a chance?
I have not seen it, mostly because I haven't seen the first season yet. So I'm definitely gonna. I'm rewatching the MCU. I'll probably just put that in somewhere and get it done before the second season comes out. Because I'm not like a diehard X-Men fan. I didn't grow up watching the movies. I was very late to the party, but I've seen most of them now, and I'm definitely gonna watch that first season. Obviously, I have to watch the original show first. I can't just jump into that. How many seasons of that are there? How much do I
think there's 3 seasons of that.
Okay, that's not that bad. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching it because it sounds like in ways this is a better X-Men adaptation than the live-action films.
I certainly think it is, especially X-Men 97. It's very mature. It's taking its characters seriously, but not too seriously, right? I think the problem with some of those Bryan Singer movies is they were just like so serious. They were trying to make jokes here and there, but it felt like they were afraid to be comic booky and to be silly. And this show is super silly and also doesn't like sacrifice the characters to be silly, right? To me, this is the perfect balance of comic book and serious. It's the best thing Marvel's done in a really, really long time. So
I watched a clip last year from the show and I'm like, this is released in 2024. This is great. The animation is great. The action is great. It's fucking violent. You're seeing Wolverine be very violent in an animated show. And I'm curious because Ross Marquand said like a month or so ago that he's surprised Disney allowed the second season because he said a lot of people fucking die. And so how is season 1? Like, is it really like that, like adult in that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's not R-rated adult, but it's unafraid to take out characters. It's unafraid to put characters in really dire situations. And it's not afraid either to embrace the civil rights commentary. It's not trying to hide behind just being an action movie or just being a mutant movie. It's very openly about something. And EDM mentions X-Men 97's episode Remember It as an all-timer. It's legitimately an all-timer episode of television, like one of the best I've ever seen in anything. And it had me crying like a little baby at the end of it. And I'm not even a giant X-Men fan necessarily. I haven't seen the entirety of the animated series. I've seen a lot of it, but I see enough of it to like watch this show and not be confused, but I haven't sat down and watched like every episode from start to finish. I'm probably gonna do that before this season comes out, because if I'm kind of a casual and I was that invested in this first season of 97, when I come back as a aficionado who's seen all of the original series, I'm really looking forward to how this is going to play out.
How much of the original series have you seen?
I know I've seen the majority of it, but it was one of those things where I watched it when it showed up on TV. I wasn't really thinking like watch every episode. I was just like, oh, X-Men is on, let's turn it on, right? So you never really know how much you've seen in that respect. But
we've talked about the potential of them doing Spider-Verse sort of live action crossover with like Secret Wars. What if they did X-Men 97 and brought them in there, did like a Roger Rabbit type thing?
I think that's a really good possibility, because that's their show, right? They're going to want to promote that more than they're even going to want to promote Spider-Verse. So I don't see a reason why they wouldn't bring these characters in.
Yeah.
Ross is hyping up the Phoenix Saga. He says, I'm being honest with you, Ari, the Phoenix Saga is done way better in animated, a kid's show, than a live-action film for adults.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't particularly...
Not a big accomplishment to be better than Dark Phoenix.
By either of those movies.
And I mentioned earlier that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man also got picked up for a third season before. No, not a third season. I misspoke. It got a release date for its second season for fall of 2026. But good news for them. They also mentioned that Daredevil is going to be returning for season 2. So if you were a fan of that take of the character in season 1, he's back.
I'm excited to see him have a bigger role, because not in the first season a lot. I honestly thought that first season was really great, and it was comic accurate, and that this is like the classic Peter Parker, and it actually feels like, I love Tom Holland, but those movies are lacking, and hopefully this next one feels like this is Spider-Man. He has all this responsibility on his shoulders. He has all this stuff he has to struggle with, and that show really did that classic Peter Parker, but also had some changes in there. I really liked Coleman Domingo as Green Goblin. Well, not Green Goblin yet. He was great in that show.
To me, Neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97 are what the multiverse saga really should have been. Embrace these different versions of the characters. Embrace animation where you can be a lot more expressive, a lot more free with how the things look and how they feel. And I think these two shows have shown what they could have been doing this whole time. And I'm glad that they seem to be lasting, right? I'm glad that even outside of the multiverse saga coming to an end with Secret Wars, they're probably not going to be saying goodbye to X-Men 97. We're probably not going to be saying goodbye to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So these echoes of the multiverse will still stick around. So I'm happy those are getting renewed. And like you said, they're moving away from these one-off shows and moving back towards actual continuous TV that comes back every year and keeps you invested in these characters and makes you fall in love with the X-Men, makes you fall in love with Spider-Man. That's how you do it, right? You're not going to fall in love with a character by giving them 5 episodes and then that's it, right? You got to keep them in their living room forever. And they finally figured that out.
And comes back next week, whether it's 2 episodes at a time. They're not dumping that all at once.
Yeah, and they delayed Wonder Man to get it out of the Christmas season. It was not a good plan to just dump something on a holiday and never think about it again, right? Give it space. So I think they are really learning from their mistakes here, and it makes me feel good going forward. Let's talk about the last story here. The biggest surprise for me out of this panel by a mile was VisionQuest. I didn't really know that much about VisionQuest. Vision's not a character I know a ton about. Like I've read here and there where he showed up and stuff, but I'm not like a Vision guy. But a lot of news out of here. They revealed the casting for Tommy, the older casting we saw the young version of this character in WandaVision. We saw his brother as Wiccan in Agatha All Along. I've never heard of this guy before. I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm so sorry, but Raudik Malika. He's
how do you spell it?
Ruaridh. He's an upcoming British actor. I'm sure, got this role at least in part to the fact that he's working on the West End with Joe Locke right now, who plays Wiccan. So I'm wondering if that was a nice little plug.
He was in the franchise.
Great claim to fame, the franchise. But yeah, I'm excited for him. He looked good from what I saw. Like I saw a little leak screenshot. I maybe saw it, maybe didn't see it.
So Tommy is like an adult now?
an adult in the same way that Wiccan is, right? Like they've clearly not played by kids anymore, right?
That's an interesting direction.
And Joe Locke and this actor previously worked together on the West End just this year, so I'd bet that was part of his casting. Said I really had great chemistry with this guy, so let's bring it back together. They play lovers on that play, so hopefully they don't bring too much chemistry to this sibling role.
So Wiccan is going to be in the show, right?
Yeah, Wiccan. Well, he's not confirmed to be in the show, but I think it's pretty likely he's going to be in the show. Because they talked about this as a conclusion to the trilogy of WandaVision, Agatha, and now VisionQuest. They confirmed Tommy. Last time we saw Wiccan and Agatha, they were looking for Tommy, so I would be expecting to see the two of them show up in some form in this show. There's a lot of other characters showing up. We have James Spader back as Ultron. That'll be very interesting to see. We also have James D'Arcy, who played Jarvis in the Agent Carter television show. You recently made your way through the Agent Carter show. So finally getting your payoff. That show matters after all, because
is the show canon now?
James D'Arcy is back in VisionQuest. We'll see. Maybe he's gonna make it canon just by mentioning some stuff that happened. You know, that's how it works. Maybe he'll show up and he'll mention Agent Carter. He'll mention something. It's cool to bringing him back, though. I've always wondered how that was gonna make sense, right? That was one of the biggest reasons that Agent Carter was struggling canon-wise, is because they had this other character that really should be the Vision but isn't, and people were kind of confused about that. So I wonder if this show is going to find a way to make both those things canon.
Wait, so how is this character different in that show?
Well, he's not played by Paul Bettany, right? Like, he's played by this different actor. And they mentioned it gets confusing in terms of like where they got the name Jarvis from. That's part of the continuity flaw too. So,
and Paul Bettany plays him in an Endgame in that time travel sequence.
And Paul Bettany plays him in Age of Ultron, obviously, and like the voice throughout the MCU, but he does not play him in that flashback sequence. So yeah, he was in that flashback sequence. He was Agent Carter, and now he's back for VisionQuest. That was James D'Arcy.
Oh, okay.
So they're gonna, I'm assuming, find a way to make all this make sense in terms of the Agent Carter one shot, the Agent Carter TV show, having all these different ideas of continuity. Maybe it'll all make sense now. Who knows?
So when he was in Endgame, was Agent Carter still considered canon?
It wasn't, and then when he showed up in Endgame unexpectedly, people were like, "Oh, look, continuity to the Agent Carter thing. Maybe it is canon."
I thought the MCU thought everything through and had a grand plan.
That would be nice, but that is not usually how it works out. This trailer looked really interesting from what I saw. Some screenshots that came out. Vision is kind of exploring his past, going through like this haunted house, and it looks like they're going to go for like a psychological horror kind of angle, going through his memories, trying to recoup his personality, the people who have made him who he is. They've been playing quiet about like, is this going to go through different genres, or is it going to go through history in the same way the previous two shows have? But the last two shows did do that, so I would be surprised if this one didn't do it. I'd love to see them really draw from the horror influence. Agatha kind of did, but it was really specifically the witch influence, right? I'd love to see this go and explore subgenres from the haunted house stuff to stuff like Eraserhead to Hereditary to The Substance. There's all kinds of horror they contribute to. I would love to see them go into that psychological horror realm and get really crazy with it, right? When you're inside the mind of this AI, what's that going to be like?
I can easily see this being the best of the three shows.
Especially now that they've had it figured out, right? I thought Agatha all along was great. One of the best shows Marvel's done. And I think they've seen what worked in that show, and they're going to pick up on it. So I'm really looking forward to how this plays out. It's most likely going to be the show that leads us directly into Doomsday.
I think so, yeah.
So I'm wondering how much this is going to be doing setting up. And that's not been a good prediction to do. Like, so far, Marvel's not really paid that off. People have been like, oh, Secret Invasion's right before the Marvels. Clearly, they're going to set something up, and then they don't do it. But like I said, they seem to be leaning into fixing their mistakes, right? Seeing what hasn't worked, what they've been criticized for, and doing it differently. So I wonder if the fact that this is leading up directly into Doomsday will influence them to do something here and learn from that mistake of it not lining up and make something connect here.
I really hope Ultron carries into Doomsday and Secret Wars.
I would love to see that, and I'm sure we'll see Vision in one of those two movies. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping by the end of this season he'll essentially be the Vision we know. And I'm wondering, like, what is that Vision like, especially without Wanda around? I'm really curious what the future of the character looks like,
Without Wanda around.
at least for now.
Yeah.
We'll see if she comes back.
We'll see.
Heavy rumors she'll be back in one of those two movies, but you never know, right?
Yeah.
And she is truly dead. Like, are we going to see Vision go look for her? Are we going to see Vision search the multiverse for her? Are we going to see Vision like manifest something dangerous by trying to bring his wife back? I really wonder how much this is going to tie in to all of that. Vision could have a big role in bringing like a dark version of Scarlet Witch back to life,
Yeah,
right?
like
What if
a
she brings
really,
back his wife, but
truly
it's
dark
it's a
one.
bad version or something, you know?
And then imagine she's an antagonist of those last two Avengers movies.
Yeah, I could see her teaming up with Doctor Doom. There's been rumors here and there that she'll be like Doctor Doom's like love interest or like his wife.
Is that
in
actually
some
a
form.
rumor?
Who knows? I mean, when you get concept art, it was in that initial leak of concept art that came out that showed like all of these Middle like these Middle Ages kind of takes on the characters. But with that kind of stuff, you never know if it's just a lie or if it's Marvel making something up or anything like that.
Imagine like Vision interacting with Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, and Doomsday, and he like touches him, and he's like, "You will see Gwen again sooner than later."
I can't wait for VisionQuest. The fact that it's tying up that trilogy makes me just very excited, and leaning into that horror angle is what gets me really excited. They can do so much attributing the heat. They haven't released a release date yet, but they have said late 2026. I've been hearing speculation that they're trying to work around Amazon so that they can get Spider Noir and VisionQuest all out prior to Doomsday coming out. But they don't want to run on top of each other. They want to make sure Spider Noir comes out prior to VisionQuest.
I did not think about this till now. What if Spider Noir actually does connect to like Doomsday in some way? Like,
it's possible. I think it's going to connect to anything. It could connect to Wonder Man. Like, imagine a Nick Cage cameo in Wonder Man, something like that. He's on the set of Spider Noir. Anything along those lines, that could be pretty fun.
Yeah, like we talk about him showing up as Ghost Rider, but what if Spider Noir, like, we talk about Spider-Verse crossing over to Secret Wars. What if it's just him?
Yeah, when you think about studios and who owns what, I think it's a little more likely for us to honestly see Spider Noir than it is to see Ghost Rider. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I'm really excited for VisionQuest. And like I said, Marvel TV feels like it's totally heading in the right direction at this point. They've course-corrected a lot of their mistakes. They're moving away from those one-off seasons that go nowhere. They're really trying to get back to consistent releases and stuff that actually makes sense together. So to me, 2026 is spelling out to be an incredible year for Marvel, especially with a somewhat slower year for Warner or for DC. You know, they have Supergirl, they have Clayface. They don't really have like a huge banger coming out, right? There's not like a bomb dropper or anything like that. Marvel is going to essentially run the field next year. They have all kinds of TV, and then ending the year with the whole ass Avengers movie, right? Like, can they win the goodwill back in this year with a bunch of knockout TV shows? And then all of a sudden we're all showing up for Doomsday, off our ass hyped. Marvel is back. Let's go. They have a runway here to have an incredible, incredible year. And
could they have what Warner Brothers had this year?
They could, especially because this is their big franchise, right? And it's something they really need to hit. And it feels like all of those pins are laid out for a nice strike right here. And I don't want to get too confident, but this panel this weekend at New York Comic Con just made me feel really, really confident that they know what they're doing here and that they have a semblance of a plan, a concept of a plan, to quote the prime leader, you know. But I'm excited for what they've got ahead of us.
Oh, we gotta mention real quick about John Roca had a scoop today on the Christian Harloff show that in Spider-Man Brand New Day, Punisher will have a female sidekick, and she'll be portrayed by a black actress.
Oh, that's really interesting. I forgot about that headline, but
I wonder if Jodie Turner-Smith is a potential pick because she was in the Acolyte. She was just in Tron area. She's in the Disney family. I wonder if maybe that could be who plays her.
I'd love to see Naomi Aki take it.
Oh God, that'd be. Can you? Oh my God, imagine she's in Spider-Man: Brand New Day and Clayface.
That's what I'm looking at. She's got like a bit of a run going on, you know. So who
That'd be
knows?
incredible. That'd be incredible.
Punisher's sidekick. There already so many characters in this thing, man. I'm already giving the Punisher a sidekick.
Yelena Belova, yeah, this is starting to sound more crowded than No Way Home. Like a lot more crowded. But
yeah, a lot of these might be one-off villains, but a whole sidekick for the Punisher. That sounds strange. And I wonder if they're gonna bring her into that Punisher one-off. Do want to set up with her, something like that. Who knows what's going on?
I don't know. Is that it for Marvel?
That's all I've got for Marvel. We covered the whole gambit. No pun intended.
Oh no, are we about to go into it that shall not be named?
Well, go ahead and lead us in, because I'm honestly not sure what you're talking about right now. So where are we going with this?
To DC, James Gunn, Peacemaker.
Oh, we talked about that at the top of the show.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we talked about James Gunn potentially getting knocked off the top of DC. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but who knows?
Oh, yeah. Well, I just wanted to – I thought I wanted to talk about the fan reactions and sort of the divide with the finale and how it seems like with this Peacemaker finale, we're kind of back into a place with the DC fandom, a dark place that we were almost 10 years ago. That is very not fun to see because with Superman, it seemed like generally people liked it and the fandom was somewhat united. But now with this finale, people are acting so toxic. Oh, if you don't like it, you got a swarm of the Gunn bros, whatever you want to, Gunn fans, just being like, oh, you just didn't get it. You want a cameo fest. And it's just very sad to see this sort of just toxic hatred back.
Yeah, people turn so quick on that thing, right? And we were harsh on it. But like we're not that harsh on it, right? And it feels like this thing has ignited like a whole storm online, right? And people are ready to get Gunn fired. People are ready to cancel the whole genre. And I'm like, let's just breathe. It was a bad episode. The season kind of flopped on its face, but there's all kinds of good stuff going on. I'm not ready to throw this thing out, but it does feel like you go online and you say one negative thing about it, and you're called a bot who has no media literacy, who hates James Gunn and doesn't respect that he cried in the podcast episode about it. So it has to be good because he cried about it, right? And yeah, my feelings have not changed all that much. There's certain things I've warned up about on the finale, but as a whole, a pretty big miss. But it does set the DC universe in an interesting spot. It shows me what James Gunn's pitch is, and I'm into what his pitch is. So I'm hoping for the best going forward.
It's not the worst thing in the world. And the thing about the episode is you're not just liking the things that are happening. It's just like they're just happening abruptly out of nowhere. You just cut to them having this new company, no build up, and then Chris is traumatized of seeing his dad died, and then he asks Harcourt if it meant anything, and then she said it meant everything, and then he just does a happy dance, and now he's no longer depressed, and then they get together, and now she's not mentally ill anymore. She's just perfectly happy. But yeah, I don't know. That I think it is pretty bad, but I do think in hindsight, when James Gunn said, though, the finale is crazy, people are going to love it, I think he was probably just talking about the ending and the checkmate. Oh, like the comic fans are going to love this, but yeah, I don't know. But I don't, it's not like the end of DC or anything. Like this is his pitch. This is what we're being set up for the future. But I just want to say real quick, like he did set us, like he hyped these episodes up. It's not like the fans expected like high things. Like James Gunn did tell us like, oh, these last three are incredible. You're not going to believe it. And there's all these crazy DC stars, and like fans can hype themselves up too much for things a lot of the time. But this time he did it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't gotta help us. You know, we're already gonna get ourselves worked up if you're going online saying this is movie quality, this is the best thing I've ever worked on. I had to keep them secret because the surprises are just too huge. It starts building up your expectations, right? And when he talks about he didn't just say Ross said there's a big cameo. He didn't say a big cameo. He also said DC stars, multiple big faces.
Yeah.
And what does he consider a big face, right? Like there is a lot of cameos in that finale, but I would not call any of them like DC stars, right? But
Just
in the end,
because-
cameos not have fixed the problems with that last episode. So all the
And-
conversation about, oh, he said there'd be a big cameo, like even if Superman showed up and it was Henry Cavill and he said, "I'm back, boys," like it still wouldn't have made the episode good, right?
And James, if you are watching this, I want you to look right in my eyes. Foxy Shazam, they might be a big cameo to you, but that doesn't mean they're a big cameo to everyone else. Nobody knew who Foxy Shazam was. You can't, when you say there's a huge cameo, you can't just be thinking about your personal musical taste. Like, that's not how that works. That was not a big cameo. And like Lex Luthor was big, but he specifically said at the end, I'm pretty sure he did say in the finale.
He said it in the last couple episodes. It's more than one when you say last couple episodes and there's only one cameo, that feels like a misdirect, right? Like there was not more than one cameo. There were not multiple stars. It was not across both the last couple episodes. It was one cameo.
Yeah. But I think we can, let's move on to something
Let's move on. Let's get out of Peacemaker headspace. You know, it's a negative space to be right now. I'm not trying to feel like that.
Yeah.
You know, we had a great stack news. There's not really anything else I want to talk about. Is there anything else jumping out to you that you want to cover this week on Here's the Thing?
What were your thoughts on the whole, I know it's kind of like a week ago, but now there's more about the whole Saudi Arabia comedians thing. Now apparently, as an apology, Aziz Ansari was like, I want to give a bunch of money to some charitable organization in the United States, and they said no. Like, do you have any thoughts on this whole Saudi Arabia thing?
Yeah, it's a really bad look for these celebrity comedians to go out there, not just do a show in Saudi Arabia, but to do a show for the Saudi princes, you know, the kings of Saudi Arabia, the ones who have been accused of all of this wrongdoing. And I'm not, you know, it's alleged wrongdoing. A lot of stuff's been unproven, but it's a bad look when you're someone like Bill Burr who talks about how much he hates billionaires and millionaires on the show all the time and tries to be this like stand up to corporate interest guy who then goes and does a show for the ultimate of corporate interest, right? It just makes you realize how much of a sellout some of these people are. And I'm glad that they're being publicly shamed. I'm glad they're having a bit of a hard time getting past. At least there's a little bit of accountability here. You know, like people will see you cross that line and they will hold you accountable for it. And a lot of these people were kind of burnouts, kind of like the, you know, the cancel me, Trump come and try and get me kind of comedians, you know, the Dave Chappelle's who are like, I'm going to say anything I want. And I'm being censored somehow by being paid millions, if not billions of dollars to perform comedy around the world. You're being censored. I don't know how that works, but yeah, all these comedians who are saying, oh, I'm a beacon of free speech. I hate censorship. America is so evil for censoring me. You're going to Saudi Arabia. You have no self-awareness. You're a total fraud. You're a total idiot. No one's taking you seriously. If anyone's taking you seriously, they're stupider than you, and that says something, you know? When you're going to a show from one of these people and you're paying them money, know what you're paying, right? Like these people are taking payouts from Saudi murderers, alleged murderers, torturers, chainsawing people to bits, and they're taking money to go tell them jokes and to let them tell them what not to say. All these beacons of free speech are being told what not to say by murderers, and you're still preaching and we're still celebrating them. What are we doing?
And fucking Dave Chappelle, go fuck yourself, dude. Seriously, just stop. I'll just go through some stuff. If you have any thoughts, you can give thoughts. Bridgerton coming back, part 1, January 29th, part 2, February 26th.
I'm hyped for that, man. I love Bridgerton. I'm really curious about this season of Bridgerton. I was kind of hoping that they would go, because this actor was really playing this role super gay, and people were theorizing, are they going to bring in a gay romance and kind of switch it up from what the books are doing? And it doesn't seem like they're going to do that. So Benedict is getting his Sophie, and they're not changing anything about it. But I'm all in on Bridgerton, so I'll be watching that thing day one. I don't want them to split the season, though. What are we splitting the season? Come on, just give it to me weekly. Just give it to me all at once. Make up your mind.
I get it for Stranger Things for the final season, but like this is ridiculous. There's a rumor from Nexus Point News that Daniel Deadweiler is in talks to star in Ryan Coogler's X-Files reboot.
I'd be there for that. That would be great casting.
Who would you, and you could maybe talk about this. I haven't seen the original, but like, who would you like to see? Like, who are some actors you would like to see in that male counterpart?
You want to get someone that can stand really tall, almost stoic, like a Daniel Kaluuya or somebody like that. I think it could be a really good fit.
God, that would be great. That would be really, really great. Would he do TV, do you think?
That's the question, but I think with Coogler he would, right? Like, I think the Ryan Coogler name will get some people to say yes to this who might not otherwise say yes, especially in something like the X-Files. They could have a thing where it's like Dexter, where they bring in a really big name actor for, like, the freak of the week or the alien of the week in the X-Files situation, and have somebody like a Bryan Cranston come back to the X-Files again to play another role. People who had roles previously to come back and play somebody else. That could be really fun. I would love to see Bryan Cranston do another performance on the X-Files. Are you kidding?
I don't necessarily love the guy, but I could see Miles Teller. He's done TV before.
Ross throws out a good pick, Lakeith Stanfield.
That would be really good, and he needs something, right? He needs something. He was on a roll, but I think he kind of needs something big. There's a rumor from the movie theater employee subreddit that K-pop Demon Hunters might be getting a second theatrical run the weekend of Halloween, which would pit it against the Back to the Future re-release.
That would be huge. There's a lot of stuff that would be in theaters that week. It would be kind of an insane move to do that for Netflix, but that is the rumor that I was hearing from some people who work at theaters, and they're saying it's on their list of coming soon attractions, even though it hasn't been announced yet. So at least some theaters are going to be showing it. I don't know if it'll be all theaters, but check your local listings and see if your theaters are showing K-pop Demon Hunters. If you didn't get a chance, I didn't see it when it came out for that one weekend. So if it does come back for Halloween, I'll hopefully make a spot to get over there and see it.
Dude, how could you forget what could have been the main story, which is New Line is eyeing Mortal Kombat 3 with Jeremy Slater returning as a screenwriter.
I'm back for Mortal Kombat 3. You kidding me? This is a confident move. They moved Mortal Kombat 2 to a really good release date. They're talking about 3 already. I'm feeling good, baby. Feeling like Mortal Kombat 2 is going to be a banger, and they're going to really improve on the first one and make it a true knockout. EDM's talking about Sinners also getting a potential IMAX run Halloween weekend. It's going to be a stacked Halloween weekend if that's true, baby.
Shit. Is that a real rumor?
I don't know how they would take IMAX screens. Doesn't Back to the Future have IMAX screens on that weekend?
I don't. How would that work? Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they're taking like this prime time IMAX screens, right? Like the 70mm screens, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Lady Gaga has been cast in The Devil Wears Prada 2.
We're so back. Are you kidding me?
Have you seen The Devil Wears Prada?
I have. Are you kidding? Who do you think you're talking to? You think I seen The Devil Wears Prada?
You got to do a double. When I watch that, I'm going to do a double feature with Phantom Thread.
That's a good combination.
They should bring that back to theaters. Devil Wears Prada. People would show up for that. Batman Nightfall is going to be adapted in a set of animated films at Warner Brothers.
I like that. I'm glad they're not killing off those animated adaptations. I was really scared when Gunn took over that we weren't going to get much of these anymore, but they don't seem to be slowing down. And I like that they're not getting caught up in like, oh, do we got to make it a DCU Batman? Does it got to be canon? Like, just make it. Like just make it. Like the animated movies don't have to worry that much about like, oh, am I canon to this or that? Like, just adapt Nightfall to an animated film. It doesn't have to be like part of the DC universe. Just make it good.
It's canon in the multiverse.
Yeah, it's part of Elseworlds now.
Yeah, it's canon in the multiverse. Michael J. Fox was making some comments about shrinking and how they said, "Oh, we don't care, about your, disease. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to worry about the coughing," because he was worried in passive had to worry about the coughing and my disability. But they're like, no, that's part of the character. And just a friendly reminder that Michael J. Fox he's going to be in Shrinking, which I've wanted to watch it, but I haven't been like, I need to watch it. With Michael J. Fox joining, I need to watch that show.
EDM is confirming that Showtime is showing up for Sinners in regular IMAX, non-70mm. So if you want to get your chance to rewatch Sinners, your shot is now.
Oh, there's one more thing to bring us back to Marvel. Andrew Garfield was asked about Avengers Doomsday. Are you in the movie? Are you in Avengers Doomsday? And he said no. Unequivocally fucking No. Okay. Listen, could he not be in Doomsday? Sure. But him saying this means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. We've been through this before. We know the deal. He could be in it. He could not be in it. But this means nothing.
He's telling the truth. He's not in this. Neither is Toby. I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of them is in either one of these movies, to be honest with you. But they're definitely not in Doomsday.
I find it hard to believe. I think it's pretty unlikely that neither of them are in neither of these movies. Jason Blum was talking about AI. The guy who has the studio who released Megan, he said, it's here to stay. It's very important to use it ethically and legally, and for studios and guilds to protect the copyright of the artists. But if we in Hollywood stick our heads in the sand and don't use it at all, we're going to cede content creation to other people. The consumer does not care if what they're looking at is AI.
Ending on a hot take of the episode. Give your thoughts first. I don't want to start the spice.
No, I want to hear what you say.
How are you feeling about this quote?
No, I want to hear it.
I think he's basically right. I think everything, like, to completely ignore AI's role completely is just foolish. And he's saying we still need to protect copyright, we still need to protect intellectual property, we still need to protect the creativity of writers. But as a tool, it's got to be used to some extent, right? And Ross brings up Tilly Norwood. I think those are the things that scare me the most. You know, when you talk about fake actors, you talk about generated scripts, generated backgrounds. That's stuff I don't like. But the scary part is what he says is true. Like, it scares me that the general public does not really care. Like, if we tell them, oh, this background's AI, this shot's AI, most people are going to be like, that's cool. That's so cool. That's AI. That's awesome. And they're not really going to think about the fact that someone's job, if not like thousands or hundreds of jobs, are being cost by that, right? And I am scared of the future in that regard, but I think he's right that studios need to find a way to use AI to some extent, but they also have to manage that line of not stepping over it, not letting AI overtake creativity and overtake jobs when they don't need to, right? And I'm nervous about what the future of this thing looks like, especially with Tilly Norwood out there. And I don't know if that Tilly Norwood thing feels like a little bit of a lie to me. Like, they said, oh, she's getting signed by an agency. Which agency? What agency signed her? None of the major agencies are going to sign her. You just made up like an AI agency, and they signed her because you told ChatGPT to sign her. Like, I don't know if I believe that, but I think we're going to see AI in the marketplace, whether we want it to or not. And studios one by one are going to start taking this Blum approach of we've got to, right? If we don't do it, TikTok and YouTube and all these short form entertainment places are going to take our spot and we're going to be dead. That's just the reality of it.
I think potentially there is a way you could incorporate something like Tilly Norwood in a movie and make it work. Like, what if it's something like Naked Gun or something that's a parody, a satire movie, and you put her in there and have Liam Neeson talking to her? He's like interrogating her, and that's the joke. But
and she just has like two robotic lines she keeps saying back and forth.
She just says yes, and then he's like, very interesting. I'll have to think about that.
EDM brings up something interesting, saying that early studies are showing that youths are more likely to identify AI images than the general population. They can see the AI filter. I feel old. That's a pretty good sign. Really adjusting your eye to be able to recognize AI when you see it. When I see a lot of like Sora AI clips on my timeline pop up against my will, they are getting much, much more realistic, and it's becoming pretty disturbing. And in a few years, you're going to see a scene that's AI, and you're not going to necessarily know that it's AI. I don't think we're going to see whole movies generated by AI within the next year, but within the next 5 years, like, it's not going to be a recognizable landscape. And Jason Blum, unfortunately, is right in the fact that these studios are going to have to embrace AI if they want to survive, and I don't like that, but it seems like it's the way of the future.
Gotta bring up Chris Pratt news. Mercy, the new Chris Pratt film. It's hitting theaters January 3rd, a film for IMAX. And we got a poster. And this is a movie.
Speaking of AI.
This is a movie. Yeah, this is a movie. I actually, believe it or not, that was not intentional. And I did not realize. Somehow did not realize it. But yeah, new Chris Pratt movie. It's an interesting concept. I will see if the movie is good. It's definitely an interesting concept and brings up modern themes. You know, what if AI is like, does not have the full story and is literally the judge of like a court case? It's an interesting concept. I don't know if Chris Pratt is the first actor I would go to for that. We'll see. What's your anticipation for this film?
Negative. Is there anything lower than 0 I can say? Like the odds of me watching this are very, very low. If you told me this was written by AI, I'd probably believe you, to be honest with you. And you say it's a creative premise. It doesn't seem like that to me. I've seen this so many times. 20 plus years ago, Minority Report came out, and it was the exact same premise of using like this technology, this psychic technology to predict future crimes and then arrest somebody before the crime's even committed. And Tom Cruise is the guy who does the arresting, and then all of a sudden his name comes up and he has to go on the run because, when this system applies to me, all of a sudden it feels fascistic and I don't like it anymore. So this feels like a straight up rip off of Minority Report. And I guess it's been 20 years, so you can rip off Minority Report, but come on. We're going to enter this era where we're seeing a bunch of AI fear-mongering movies, which are taking a very, very real danger to Hollywood, which is AI replacing us, and just turning it into this like cheap schlock for tech companies to make more money. And we're going to see this turn of like a decade of rich people bad movies. Now we're going to see a decade of AI bad movies. And I'm just not looking forward to seeing a bunch of tech companies make AI bad movies while making AI. Like this is going to be on Amazon Prime while Amazon develops their own AI or whatever. This is just so fake and it's so false, and I hate it so much.
Chase Infinity is going to campaign for lead actress for One Battle After Another.
I thought that's where she was going to go. People were pushing back on me when I said that when it first came out. I said she feels like a lead. She's secondary lead to Leo. I'd say she has a lot of scenes and she's really good. I hope she gets in.
I don't know if you heard this news, but Charlie XCX's A24 film, Kylie Jenner, Rachel Sennott, and Kate Berlant are going to be in the cast.
I'm looking forward to see what Charlie XCX has got for us. I hope she's got a couple of Taylor Swift burns in there, kick back the life of a showgirl. Taylor Swift's making some ups, and you're out here making A24 movies. Who's winning? Okay, come on.
20th Century has won a heated bidding war for Python thriller Spec Crush, penned by Temple Hill exec John Fisher. It's a snake-themed spec. It's a survival thriller about a woman hiking alone in the Everglades who wakes to find herself trapping in the crushing coils of a massive python fighting to stay alive. It's inspired by true events and told in real time. This sounds kind of interesting. This right after Anaconda. Anaconda comes out. We're going to get Anaconda and then this in the next few years. Sounds like an interesting premise. This is nothing. I'm going to mention this, but there's nothing to talk about here. Grey's Anatomy ups a bunch of actors' deals.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked this show is still going on, to be honest with you. Is she even still in it? I know she left for a while. I wonder if she's even on the show. Grey herself. I wonder if she's gone from that lineup.
I have no idea. Did we mention at the beginning that Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi were re-upped?
We did not, but it's good news in the wake of this Warner Brothers merger. It feels like they're very confident in what they've got, and they're going to hold their ground for a little while longer.
Oh, right. Wicked for Good tickets are now on sale, and they're going to be doing double features of Wicked and Wicked for Good. They're gonna do the whole thing again. There's going to be an early screening on Monday. I think 2 versions of the early screening, and then there's going to be the prime early screening, and then maybe another one. And they've broken some records. It's the biggest first day ticket pre-seller of the year, which is not a surprise at all.
I'm glad that the movie's doing well. I was kind of wondering if they'd be able to capture lightning in a bottle like twice. The first movie was such a phenomenon. Are people going to be over it? But doesn't seem like they're over it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we have a lot more to talk about. There was Dexter Resurrection was renewed for a second season.
It was funny they didn't have like an announcement video of any kind. They just had Michael C. Hall in bed shooting a vertical video from his phone being like, guys, I just wanted to tell you we're back for some more Dexter.
Is that real?
That's real. There was no special announcement. There was not even like a press release. It was just Michael C. Hall shooting the video. It looked like he was barely woken up. And someone texted him and was like, hey, can you record real quick saying that Dexter is back? And he's just like, Hey guys, just wanted to let you know I'm back again. We're doing
Um,
another one. The story
John,
is not over.
yeah, John Woodvane, the actor known for American Werewolf in London, passed away. He was 96 years old.
Great movie. I would actually like to probably watch that tomorrow. It's a little late to watch it tonight, but maybe I'll watch it tomorrow.
I really like that
I
movie.
want to mention there was a huge bidding war over these books called Impossible Creatures, these children's fantasy novels. Disney purchased them for a large amount of money. They follow these children who discover this map that leads them to a bunch of unmapped islands filled with magical creatures. A young kid saves a griffin from his pool and then realizes this griffin leads him to like this magical world full of all these creatures, and there's kind of a rebellion going on, and he helps this girl who needs help. And the movies were purchased for a lot of money. The writer of the book is going to write the screenplays of the movies, and Disney is already saying this is the next Harry Potter. This is it, boys. We're coming back. This is to be the next huge hit. So I'm curious. I'll probably read this first book. It is like a young adult book, like Harry Potter is, but I'd be curious to see how it is and how his franchise pays off. Do they really have the next big hit? Disney needs a new franchise. They've been looking only at old school stuff, reviving Star Wars, reviving Indiana Jones. Do they have an actual new IP on their hands here?
They need to. They want to compete with Harry Potter. Is the obvious takeaway.
Yeah, clearly so.
Zach Cherry from Severance and the True Detective star from the newest season, Kaylee Rice, are going to be in Zach Kreger's Resident Evil movie.
That's awesome. I'm glad the movie's coming to life. You always wonder, like, is he going to walk away from this thing after Weapons is a huge hit? I guess
No.
not.
And this is happening, I believe. Is this coming out in 2026?
I think so, or at least, very early the year after that, because they're working on it.
That's wild. It's supposed to come out in September. Can they hit that date?
They might be able to. I mean, they made a Jurassic Park movie in like less than a year, so it's possible.
Oh, Scrubs reboot added 9 to the cast, and Phil Lewis is returning.
I'm glad we saw that picture of the whole cast reunited. It's probably only going to be for like one episode or something, but I'm curious about this show. I'm not super confident about it though.
I don't even know what the show is, but Ballard was renewed for a second season at Amazon Prime.
Good for the boomers out there, you know?
And I just wanted to tell you, Sorry Baby, which is one of the best films of the year, it's finally going to hit streaming on October 30th on HBO. So if you want a really good drama with Naomi Ackie, I highly recommend that. And we got to reference this just for the sake of humanity. I know it's a news show, but Diddy's been sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison. And let's pray to God he actually fucking gets this, because that man deserves so much longer than that. That's unbelievable. But let's be grateful he got something. Adam Driver and Anne Hathaway are going to star in a military drama from Ron Howard.
Hell yeah, I'm there for that one. That sounds like a Tristan movie right there.
Who's going to see it though?
I'll be there. The only one probably, but.
You could, if it had a low budget and released it in Christmas season, you could do something with that crowd. That doesn't need to be mentioned. Okay. The Testament of Ann Lee is going to come out at Christmas and in 70 millimeter.
I'm seeing that one on Thursday. I can't wait to review.
And I can't forget to mention that Kill Bill is coming back to theaters in the form of an actual full film, both combined, like Quentin Tarantino wanted to do originally. It's going to play in 70 millimeter. It's going to play in 35 millimeter. It's on the movie theater websites now, so I think tickets will go on sale sometime in the next month. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is a great cut of the movie. It's shown internationally a handful of times. It's called The Whole Bloody Affair. You can find stitches of it together. Obviously, like fans have done Kill Bill 1 and 2 merged together, but this will be Tarantino's merging of it, and it's also going to include a never before seen animated sequence that I assume is going to bridge the two parts. So you're going to get some new Bride content, written directed by Quentin Tarantino, animated too. I think it's Tarantino's first time working with animation, so that'll be cool to see.
I didn't even know this was happening. There's a Peaky Blinders sequel series, and it just got a 2-season order at Netflix. I don't know if this was previously announced, or if this was the announcement of the show existing. Do you have any anticipation for this?
I didn't get the Peaky Blinders. I appreciated it, but it was not really my kind of TV. But I know the fans, that's a huge show for a lot of people, so I'm glad they're getting another run at it.
I wonder if Cillian Murphy will be in the sequel series.
I hope so.
Carl Weathers has been cast in Peter Farrelly's I Play Rocky movie. Stephan James, who we know from Moonlight, or not Moonlight, from If Beale Street Could Talk, who was almost Green Lantern in James Gunn's DC universe. So I'm guessing this would not be happening. Who knows if he wasn't Green Lantern. That's good news. William H. Macy, I guess, was cast in an erotic thriller.
Ooh, let's see that, baby.
That guy's getting some good work. The reboot of Charlotte's Web, the animated star-studded reboot, came out on HBO Max. Did you get a chance to watch
I actually did watch an episode of this. I have a lot of nostalgia for Charlotte's Web. Honestly, I was a giant fan of the book. When I was a kid, I hosted a screening of the Charlotte's Web movie at a theater, and I did an introduction speech to Charlotte's Web. I went up there and talked about like the themes of Charlotte's Web and the characters and all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of memories with Charlotte's Web. I will say this version of Charlotte's Web is not very good. Don't make it your first or second or third introduction to this story. I guess if you're a little kid, you can put it on, and it's not like the worst thing you can watch. But it's like a true Disney Junior, like little baby version of Charlotte's Web. The animation is not very good. It's a serviceable adaptation of a story, but there's other versions you can watch, or just read the book. Go back to the basics. But I watched it out of nostalgia. I'm not going to finish it, but it's out there.
We got some more casting for FX's Witness Protection pilot. Finn Wittrock and Ashley Thomas. Now, I've heard of Finn Wittrock, but so this thing is ramping up. This thing is happening.
I'm excited for it. I like seeing Finn Wittrock at work.
Did you mentioned earlier you wanted to talk about something Taylor Swift?
Oh, yeah, the Taylor Swift attempt at recapturing the Eras Tour as she released this big movie ahead of her new film, or her new album, Life of a Showgirl. It did pretty well the first couple of days, and then reviews came out not just for the album, but for the actual movie that was released, and it was not positive, and it sounds like Taylor Swift's having a bit of a downfall. This feels like a good last story here for you. Have you listened to any of this new Taylor Swift album at all? Do you have any experience with it?
No.
Because that's perfect, actually, because I would love to do a dramatic reading here. This is not a copyright infringement, okay? So don't sue me, Taylor Swift. I promise. But I'm pulling up the lyrics right here because I wanted you to get the lyrics just to this one song by Taylor Swift called Wood. Okay, this song is called Wood, and it's definitely what you think it's about, okay? It's not a creative title, but...
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's start with the chorus here. Oh, boy.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He dickmatized me and opened my eyes. Wedwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Beautiful lyricism from Taylor Swift right here. Okay. Certainly one of her most acclaimed lines. And that is like the chorus, the secondary chorus. She goes through that thing multiple times. There's even the tight, she mentions his new heights of manhood. She's got a knock on wood. The curse of me was broken by your magic wand. So subtlety from Taylor Swift today.
Jesus fucking Christ. We're going to end on that?
Holy great note to end on,
Okay, that's got to be it.
Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He dickmatized me and opened my eyes. Great note to end. Here's the news on this week. EDM has Taylor Swift thoughts. Midnight's where she lost it. I'm kind of with the ethic. When she got sleepy and she started doing this bedroom pop kind of lo-fi thing, it just started feeling real lazy. And it's starting to highlight the faults in her songwriting. And when you get to stuff like New Heights of Manhood and his magic wand opening her thighs, I think you start to get a little bit on the bad side, So the downfall of Taylor Swift might be upon us. If you're someone who's been sick of the Taylor Swift takeover, maybe she's on her way out, you know?
Oh, well, no, okay. Let's have a good story to end on. This is actual good news. That the Tony Gilroy film, the music one, I guess Pedro Pascal, it is actually happening, but David Harbour joined him to co-star.
Love seeing David Harbour and stuff.
This
He's
is awesome.
A fun guy.
I can't wait for we're getting this, and then the one with Keen Phoenix was going to do the Western. So Pedro Pascal, he's going to get an Oscar nomination for one of these.
I bet Pedro Pascal has New Heights of Manhood.
Okay, that's it. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, we promise we'll be back next week. We have a lot going on the channel. Stranger Things is getting reviewed. I'll be reviewing Testament and Lee on Thursday. Chicago Film Festival is here, so me and Ari are going to have a bunch of reviews. The Virginia Film Festival on Michael's side of the island is going to be reviewed very soon too.
Film Festival. Michael's going to Virginia and Middleburg.
And Middleburg. So we're going to be trying to cover the gambit of these late-stage film festivals as the award season kicks off. We're going to be doing award predictions, reviews, all kinds of coverage. It's not just news on here. It's all kinds of media. We even reviewed a video game recently. So if you're a fan of Silent Hill and you want to see our thoughts on Silent Hill F, check it out. Until next time, as usual, take care of each other, release the Epstein files, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.